This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning everybody, and welcome to this slightly eerie morning. You can see the clouds scudding over above. This is Safari Live.
Ready.
Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
It's supposed to be 18 degrees Celsius, 63 degrees Fahrenheit. This is a violent untruth, everyone. It is probably about 14 degrees Celsius or so, which is about 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, my name is James Henry. On camera today is Willem Dorenbrach. The two of us standing at 5 feet and 8 inches each. Willem slightly taller because of the aerial sticking out of his back, in order to broadcast to you live from the Kruger National Park, where you now see us. We're standing on the western fringes. We're on a little spit of land called Djuma, off to the west of us, Arathusa, and to the east Cheetah Plains. Also on walk with us today, the inimitable Rexon, who will be protecting us from things that might take displeasure at our presence, and he's also going to hopefully be teaching us various local knowledge about the bush. On the other feeds, if you like, we have Jamie Patterson. She's being filmed by Jean Drey, and then David is filming Taylor. This is my first experience, of course, out in the wilderness with Taylor. So it's good to have you with us. Now, this tree that I'm on is not just simply here for climbing. It has many stories to tell. Just have a look at it. It is a Combretum collinum bush. That is a variable bush willow. And it's been broken many times. I'd say probably at least 50 or 60 times it's been snapped in half. And it's hit me in the face now, which is very unpleasant of it. And if you look at it, where I'm standing now, the base from where I'm standing, I reckon this tree must be pushing a good 150 to 200 years old. It's one of the very few that's managed to get to a stage where the base is any wider than, say, the thickness of my spindly leg. And that's unusual for these Combretum trees, and I wonder if it doesn't have something to do with the fact that this area that we're in now used to be a quarantine area. That's why it's called quarantine clearings, and it used to be fenced off, I think. So I wonder if this tree didn't have some form of advantage from maybe a few years of being without elephant attention. That has changed, of course. You can see it has been destroyed many times indeed. It isn't alone over here, of course. To the right-hand side of where Willem is standing, there is a... What is that? I think it's another Combretum of sorts. It's a red bush willow, I think, maybe. But there's also a jackalberry tree over here. And this jackalberry tree is fruitless, but it's very clever, well, rather stupidly actually, decided to grow next to this Combretum bush, which means that the elephants are eventually going to have a go at it. But what you can see is that they haven't had a go at it. It's obviously not something, the bark that they like from the Combretum trees is obviously not the same in those jackalberries, so hopefully this jackalberry will produce beautiful fruits one day. Please do talk to us over the course of the next 3 hours. Hashtag Safari Live, questions at wildearth.tv if you're on the email. It'll be lovely to hear from you. We are live on the walk as much as they are live on the drives, which means you can talk to us at any stage. This could end badly, not so. Willem says to me, could you just fall as we go live? Right, as I'm getting out of the tree, in case I impale myself, which will not make good live TV for all concerned, let's go across to Jamie and find out what her plans are for the morning.
Good morning, and welcome on the Sunrise Safari. And of course, we are all still riding the high from yesterday's Sunset Safari, where Hansel and Gretel The two missing lion cubs followed some kind of trail, probably not breadcrumbs, and made their way back to the Lion Pride. I was in the middle of saying goodbye to everyone and thank you for watching and that whole spiel, and I got the message through from Final Control saying quick link over to Brent, and there he was. And I thought the tone of Brent's voice, because of course first thing we did was watch the clip when we got back home that evening, I thought Brent was going to burst into tears. Which was unlikely. I mean, it probably is a slight exaggeration, but his voice pitch definitely went up about 2 octaves. Brian came back with this grin from ear to ear last night. It was so amazing. What a fantastic moment to be able to share with them. And the fact that we were there for the reunion is even better. So, of course, as you can imagine, my plan for this morning is to try and see whether or not our lovely Nkuhumas are anywhere around. For viewers that are jumping on board for the very first time and for whom that makes absolutely no sense, 2 of our lion cubs went missing. They were seen on our 24-hour dam camera on, what was it? Just 3 days ago, or just over 3 days ago, first thing in the morning. And they'd obviously become separated from the pride, because then we found the pride a little bit later, not far. And we sort of thought it's okay, they'll find them relatively quickly. They didn't. And every time we found the lion pride after that, they had 6 cubs instead of 8, and it became a terribly worrying situation. Because it's a dangerous world out there for time. I mean, we're talking little lion cubs. One of them is about this big. It's a very scary world out there. And somehow they managed to travel probably from the dam to Buffelshoek Dam. It's at least a kilometer that they managed to travel, and reunite with their pride just under 3 days later. Looking from the clip a little bit skinny, but nevertheless totally intact, and very, very relieved to be back with mom and siblings and cousins. You can just imagine how terrified those poor little things must have been. It does make you wonder how often this actually does happen to lion prides with lots of cubs, how often they get separated. But hopefully that's a mistake that our little cubs will not make again in the future. Oh, anyway, so relief all around. Happy, happy news. The lion cubs safe and sound and back with the Nkuhumas. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed, because they were right close to the boundary yesterday, that they haven't decided to cross north. If they have, that's okay. I'm sure the other guides will find them, and they'll be able to fill us in on whether or not they are safe and sound. We will just have to see. So far, no tracks coming in this direction. It's a little bit chilly this morning, after yesterday's 37-degree afternoon, close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. This morning's a lot chillier. There's a nice cool breeze coming through. And what that does mean is that last night it was incredibly windy. It was unbelievably windy. And that means good hunting weather for our Nkuhumas. And they're probably feeling particularly hungry at this point, and I'm sure those cubs could do with a nice big meal. So perhaps that's what they were up to last night. See how fresh these lion tracks are. Not very fresh at all. I'll show you what I mean. Just a quick glimpse at them. They have largely been driven over, and they've basically become so obscured that they're just sort of holes in the sand. Barely noticeable. Okay, so that's not the lion tracks that we're going to be following. We're going to be looking for something much fresher. While we do, let's go and find out what Taylor's plan is for the morning and where she's going to go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a not-so sunrise safari this morning. It's a little bit cloudy today, as you can see. Clouds are actually moving quite quickly, which is not too bad. I don't think they're going to stick around for too much. However, I think we are going to have a beautiful hot day a little bit later. So, welcome again. My name is Taylor, and we've got David behind the camera this morning. And you won't believe what we found so far. we have picked up on some male lion tracks. So they seem to be going in a bit of an easterly direction, but we're gonna follow them a little bit. We had their tracks coming through a drainage line to our left. We're waiting just to see if we can find anything that's popped out. However, it was very windy yesterday, and I'm suspecting that on some of these roads that are not so sandy, we may have lost the tracks. So we're going to keep on keeping on. So just bear with us for a minute, but hopefully we'll be able to find you some male lions, which would be nice. I haven't seen the Birmingham, so I suspect that that's who we may see. So for those of you who have never watched Safari live before, we are live from the African bush. Can you believe it that we can do these miraculous things out here? No, nothing. It did have a set of tracks that looked like a lion's track. However, it was just a big female hyena who was pretending to be a lion in the wind-blown road. And we have some obstacles up ahead, courtesy of the elephants. They're quite big and a bit thorny, so we'll come and move them a little bit later. And we have another obstacle in the road. Thank you, elephants, for your kindness this morning. Okay. I think David is helping me out this morning as GPS, so I shall also reward him with chocolates or whatever he likes, really. So we'll be doing lots of that. So we're going to just do a very, very quick loop around here, and we're going to scan nicely just to see if we maybe haven't missed them. Maybe I've walked right past the male lions and they were snoozing. So let's go and have a quick little look. I'm going to take it very easy. I've got the tracks again. Hello, lion tracks. I thought they came to this drainage line. We want to maybe have a look. Hang on, let's find some nice ones. Here we go, those aren't too windblown. Can you see any of those?
Should be able to. Yep.
So we've got some lion tracks, and they don't look too bad. It was exceptionally windy last night. I had to take my wig off. No, I'm just joking. I don't wear a wig. But, yeah, let's see if we can get them. There we go. So anybody that's got any questions, remember that you can either hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you're welcome to email us if you prefer emailing at questions@wildearth.tv. I'm still new here, so if you want to get to know me a bit better, please send on some questions. Or if you want to know any more elephant stories, I know there were a few of you that enjoyed the elephant stories. I've got plenty of those. I can pull them all out the hat. So please send us something to chat about while we are trying to find these mysterious lions. And I see their tracks are now on both sides of the roads. Fantastic. I have got a good feeling. I'm trying to be very optimistic. Radio, where have you gone? Where have you gone? So, we've come to another junction. As you can see, and I can see the lion tracks are going to the left. We are going to carry on following them. I'm going to send you off to James and to see how his little walkabout is going. And hopefully, I'll have some cats for you a little bit later.
I'm just checking the wind now, slightly theatrically, of course, because the wind I can feel is blowing from my left shoulder, but I'll just give you an idea of how strong it is. You see that, Viam? It's quite strong, isn't it? It's blowing from the southeast because there's a front come in. And what we're doing, the reason for checking the wind now is because there's an elephant just up ahead that we've seen. Rexon is just up ahead trying to see if we can't get a bit of a viewing point. But what one does, of course, when one's tracking elephants and one wants to see how fresh it is, one comes to their dung and then one must do the following. Of course, a trick that you show children all the time. Right? You take your hand like this, you put the finger in elephant dung like that, and then you lick it. And that will tell you exactly how old the elephant dung is and how far the elephant's gone and in what direction it has gone. Now, of course, that is totally ridiculous, and many of you that are more sharp-eyed would have seen that I didn't, in fact, put the same finger that I put into the dung into my mouth, and I've done that with many children, and they find it astounding that a man would do something like that. This is cold elephant dung. It's very cold temperature. This is cold. It's cold, and I think it's cold probably because it's old, and I don't think it was made by the small elephant bull that we saw up here. Now, let's go a little bit closer. As we're moving, I'm just going to show you a little bit. Well, I'm not. The very clever people in the FC are going to show you a little bit about the quarantine area, and you'll see as zooming in from outer space into the quarantine area, and you can see there that area where you're looking now. We've walked off to the left-hand side, in other words, to the west, and we're now west of that area that you've just looked at. That's the left-hand side of your picture that you saw there. Now, there is Rex, and what we're going to do is join up with him. He's just saying to us, come to him. That means he's probably got a view of the elephant, so come and have a look. I'm going to talk a lot more quietly now. And we're just going to walk over and see if we can't get a view. This is not this kind of experience that you have in a vehicle, where you get up close and personal with the elephants and they kind of go about their business sort of ignoring you. This is just to get a sense of an elephant on foot, to get a sense of your insignificance, I suppose, in the greater scheme of the wilderness, and to touch something primal. Because, of course, to see an elephant on foot can be a tremendously scary thing if you don't understand their behavior. And the idea here is to do what our human ancestors did, and that is to view this elephant without it knowing that we're there. Because an elephant, when it sees us on foot, will generally be threatened by us, and we don't want that. We don't want him to feel afraid, and we too don't want to feel afraid ourselves. So the idea is just to get a brief glimpse and just show you and try and give you a sense of what it's like to be an insignificant, physically inferior specimen, because that's what we are out here as humans. We have only our minds for defense. We physically cannot even run away from a squirrel. Now, it's just up here. Not sure if we'll get a view, but half the fun in these things is just trying to sort of stalk up and see if you can't have a view. Paying close attention to which way the wind's blowing, listening to bird alarm calls, because we know that birds will alarm call at us, and that the elephants and various other animals will understand those alarm calls as being sort of fearful of a predator, which of course is what we are. Let's just go a little bit closer to Rex. I'm just going to try and catch up with him. Temptation to scream out when attacked by a Sisyphus tree is strong within, but one cannot if one is stalking an elephant. Let's just look quickly around this next corner, and then we'll go back to Jamie while we see if we can get into a viewing position. Okay, I think we've got a viewing position. Let's quickly have a look here. And like I say, it's not going to be a close-up of the elephant's trunk. It's just going to be a grey shadow moving through the bushes. There he is. He's actually much closer than I thought he was. And what Rexon is doing, you can see he's very cleverly sneaking up behind the termite mound. Now that elephant can't hear us and cannot smell us. If it turns round right now, it might see us, but we'll then just melt away into the bush. All I want to do now is go up to the termite mound to where Rex is, and we'll get a slightly better view. Remember, the idea to do this so that the elephant has no idea that we're there, He will feel threatened by us if he sees us, and we don't want that. He will also feel threatened if he smells us, but he won't smell us because the wind is so strong from him to us. We'll just get one more view here. Come over here, everybody. Be very quiet. Watch where you place your feet. There you are. Hello, Taylor. You're wondering what we would do if the elephant charged. Taylor, the elephant would have to be very upset to charge. If he saw us, he'd probably turn around and lift his ears and face us, at which point we would stand and assess what he was going to do for a few seconds, and then probably just back off. If he were to put in a serious charge, well, the only thing you can do then is to either get into some thick bush and kind of change direction quite quickly, or try and stop him by clapping and making a big noise. But the whole idea here, Taylor, is that we don't ever get into a position like that. And that's why we don't view elephants on foot close like you would in the vehicle, because he would feel inevitably threatened if we did that. So we viewed him. This is why this vegetation for viewing big game on foot. It's so clear that you can see these animals from a long way off. Now, we watched him from, we probably saw him at about 100 meters, 1,000. This little sort of ridge area, and we walked across and came towards him. All right, everyone, we're going to lead this elephant to his lovely meal of grey vegetation. Let's head across to Jamie. She's got some more footprints to show you.
And what a lovely way to start off a morning to approach an elephant on foot. On our side, we have some relatively disappointing news, not hugely disappointing, just relatively disappointing news, and that is that I'm currently sitting on our northern boundary. I'm going to hop out and show you what it is I'm looking at. And going north are the tracks of our lions that we've been looking for. So we've got a whole set of footprints, including the adults here. So this is one of the adults' tracks, making its way to the north. And then next to it are tiny, tiny little footprints of all of the little cubs. I couldn't possibly count how many there are. There's probably 8 that have gone north. We're hoping there are 8 going north. We don't want to go through that whole experience again. Oof, brr, it's relatively chilly. So that's where our lions have gone. They've gone north into Buffelshoek. For newer viewers, a big cat track is always very easy to identify. They've got 3 lobes at the back of the track that make it very, very clear. Lion cub tracks, how do I know that they're lion cub tracks? Well, first of all, there's lots of them with adults. They are roughly the size, at this point, of a female leopard track. But if it was a female leopard, it would just be one set of tracks walking along, and not a whole pile of them wandering along this road. So I'm going to continue on. I'm going to try and check and see that they haven't come back, but it's not looking hopeful at this point. Sometimes every now and again a female leopard will come and walk on top of the lion tracks just to really confuse you. But that doesn't often happen. Now, Brent left me a gift this morning, very kindly. And I'm thrilled. It's a really lovely present to have. And that was a flat tire. And I pumped it in the hope that it was a slow puncture. It's not a slow puncture. It's still okay for now. There's a very, very good chance we are going to end up changing a tire before the morning is out. Luckily for us, we've now got this amazing sort of invention. I don't know if it's called an invention. We've got this amazing cable that now allows us to get off the vehicle. So worst comes to worst, you can watch us change the tire. What has Brent done to this earpiece already? There we go. Wrap a blanket around my legs because I regret my shorts choice. And while we've been tracking the lion cubs, we've got a really nice question from Rebecca in Santa Barbara, and that is whether or not it's possible that predators use tracks to inform their own hunting strategies. And that is a really nice question. So you're sort of thinking along the lines of perhaps following buffalo tracks to move to where they are, or following, let's say, for example, a hyena following along leopard tracks, for example. And now, chances are probably not. It's not so much for them about looking at the footprints as it would be following the scent trails. So that's more likely what it would be that they are using to decide where they go. Scent trails, and particularly with the buffalo herd example, they came back. They really actually did come back. Or did they? Sorry. I know that the lionesses, there was a bit of confusion yesterday because the lionesses, there was only one lioness initially with Brent. Those are not as fresh, unfortunately. I got overexcited. I don't think they've come back. I think those are slightly older tracks than the one we were looking at. But yes, just to finish off that question on tracking, the animals will most likely use sounds and scent trails more than they will following footprints in the sand, physically following footprints. Hyena do often follow animals like lions and leopards, and they do that because they know that there's a good chance they might have a chance of scavenging something. Particularly with leopards, they very often trail them. But that will be what they'll do, is they'll actually see that animal and then follow behind at a safe distance. Sorry guys, just listening to the morning updates. Aubrey's found fresh male leopard tracks on the Djuma Dam wall. So if we don't have any luck here, then I'm going to go racing across in that direction to help him look for them. Yeah, unfortunately I don't think our lions have come back onto Djuma. I think they've stayed on Buffelshoek. There is a dam just a little bit, maybe about 100 meters into Buffelshoek here. So there's nice fresh water for them. And as I said, they probably will have been on the hunt as well last night. Okay. One quick check of Buffelshoek Dam just in case, and then we'll move on to go and help Aubrey. Perhaps Tingana has decided to make an appearance. He was on Torchwood yesterday with Tundi. I suppose we should probably go that way. He was on Torchwood with Tundi. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're doing a big loop all the way around the northeastern corner of Djuma and making our way towards Buffelshoek Dam. Now, unfortunately, Buffelshoek Dam is no longer so much a dam, and indeed not even a mud wallow at this point. But it gives you a perspective as to just how close we are to Buffelshoek boundary itself, the northern part of Djuma. And it is one of the lion's favourite spots. Of course, this was where the Nkuhuma lioness was denning the youngest set of cubs. While we search behind every termite mound and every gully, I know that James is standing on termite mounds and having a look at the different ones. Let's go and see what he's found on this beautiful morning.
We found a siege going on here, and I think that's actually a really quite good description. The termites have made, there's a bit of heat coming out there. The termites are just inside here. I may decide to sacrifice one of my fingers to the termites. But you can see ants here, which are not termites have sort of attacked here. We don't know what they are trying to get inside and see if they can't eggs and sort of take them away. They might also be perhaps sharing the mound. So they're going there into what Liam described as their fortress, and they seem to be in retreat at the moment. The termites disappeared back inside. The young soldiers, the brave young soldiers, sent out to protect the mound, and I'll see if I can retrieve one for you now. I think they've all gone in. Now what you can do if you want them out is to blow. Except today, when even blowing doesn't bring them out. So, one of the greatest predators of termites, of course, are ants of various species. Hundreds of different kinds of ants that we get out here, and many of them carnivorous, and many of them will come and raid a termite mound like this. And through sheer weight of numbers, they will be able to overcome the sort of fairly spindly defensive efforts of the termites. They'll go inside and they'll steal termite larvae and probably also steal termite eggs. And that's when they'll carry it all back to their own little nest and eat it there. Now, I read something quite astonishing the other day, and that is that there are some species of ants that can live for up to 29 years. Can you imagine the story an ant of this size had to tell after 29 years of doing the same thing every single day? I suppose just like a human being that does the same thing every single day, working in a factory, for example, unfortunate enough not to work at Wild Earth, where every day is very different. But a 29-year-old ant would be quite something to have a conversation with. Now we're just going to point you over towards that side, where there is a really beautiful picture of the grey clouds scudding golden laced across the sky as the sun peeps up over the eastern side of them. It's all rather gorgeous out here, I must say. Hello, Sarah. You want to know if this front is going to bring any rain? Sarah, I think it's highly unlikely. Normally, because weather that we get from the southeast like this is frontal, sometimes brings a bit of drizzle, but it very seldom brings anything meaningful in the way of rain. Normally, if we're going to have a big storm, it'll start gathering on the mountains in the northwest over that way, and then that will dump on us here. And yesterday, Brent said that he'd done some research and he had found that there was now a 12% chance of La Niña coming into this area. I went and did some of similar research in the evening because I wasn't really sure about it. I hadn't read anything about it. It would seem that the great deluge predicted is certainly starting to reduce. The chances of it are starting to reduce quite substantially. Possibly in for just a normal rain year, which will be great, but most of that rain will come from over there. It's not going to come from the southeast there. So no, that's just going to bring cool conditions today and some shade and some great relief from the blinding heat we've had of the last few days. Let's go to Taylor and get an update from her. We're going to continue off to the west.
Hello. I don't know if you can see what I've got in front of me. Any of you that would know how ecstatic I am because I absolutely love elephants, and I'm going to pull off the road and hopefully they are going to walk past us. It's quite a big breeding herd. Actually, wait, let me just see. They may move off the road for us. Yes, that's exactly what they do. Oh, I'm stalling because I don't know how to drive a Land Rover. Okay, I'm just going to concentrate a little bit so you do not upset the animals. And we're going to try and stealth mode into this lovely breeding herd. And also, I just want to get the sun behind us a little bit, because at the moment, oh my goodness, look at all these little babies. Sorry, at the moment you won't be able to see much. Hello, little one, it's okay. It's okay. Let's sit just like this, and then hopefully they're going to just funnel past us, which would be fantastic. Hello, little one, you cheeky. Yes, smelling us. What are you doing? Oh, you've got a thorn under your foot. Look at that. You can use your oh no, it's still in there, I'm afraid. It's still going to hurt. Yes, scrape it on the floor. There you can see him scraping his foot. Or actually, I should say, is it a she or is it a boy? It's a little girl. Sorry, I should say she. But she has seemed to have removed the thorn from her foot now, which is great. You can listen. Hear them all communicating with each other. So I've got elephants down and in front to the right of me, but we're really loving these ones right here to the left of the vehicle, and I think they're all actually just going to funnel past us. It seems to be quite a big herd. I think there's probably between 20 or 30 elephants with us. And yesterday morning I was searching for these wonderful elephants, and I could only find 2 boys. So I am happy. And just to give you a very quick update, we tracked those male lions until they crossed off of our traverse, which was very sad because we were hot on the heels. We couldn't have been too far behind them. The tracks were really, really fresh. However, hopefully Jamie gets lucky and maybe picks up on a spotted cat, which will be nice. I haven't seen a leopard for a while, so I'd be looking forward to that. Eating sicklebush. That's not too delicious. Good morning, Dan. So you have asked, why are elephants threatened by people on foot rather than when we are in the vehicle? Well, Dan, it's a fantastic question. I mean, it's actually quite absurd how their behavior changes completely. But this is because we have been interacting in this specific area, in the Sabi Sands of South Africa, for about, say, 40 years of interaction with vehicles and their animals. So they've become fairly used to us. They're habituated in a sense. So we smell and we sound like people in the vehicle. However, we don't behave like the humans they're used to. This area used to be hunted quite a bit before it became a conservation wilderness area, if I may. And obviously people were coming and shooting. So when they see people on foot, they see a predator. And they're obviously not used to this. But I'm pretty sure if you were to walk in an area for 30 years on foot in a closed system, so in a fenced-off system where animals, for instance, are only seeing people on foot and people in the vehicles, then I'm pretty sure they'd become just as relaxed as we are in the vehicles. Not that you'd want to get that close to an elephant, a wild elephant. Remember, these are all wild animals. And that's why we're so well trained in animal behavior, is to be able to tell when the animal is upset with us, or in this case, when they are so happy with us that they basically joined us for breakfast, or we joined them for breakfast. So, Dan, I hope that answers your question. It just takes lots of time and patience, and it's, like I said, it's taken many, many, many years for them to become relaxed like this. You saw that reaction of the little one as we arrived, ears out, smelling us, very curious. So still sort of working out, can I trust you? Should I trust you? Which is quite nice. But this is what we hope to do, is we want to have positive interactions with the animals and leave on a positive note too. So that next time when a vehicle comes bumbling along, they go, oh hey, we like these. We like these things. They don't bother us too much. We can still hear them cracking in the distance. There's another big female still coming ahead, but she's behind us. And this lovely golden light is just amazing. Hello, Michael. Sure, you're up nice and early for an 18-year-old. That's good to see. So, you've asked if you had an African elephant and an Asian elephant in the herd together, would they be able to understand each other? I think the answer would be yes. I don't think elephant communication is very different from the different, well, the subspecies of elephants. I think they do the same rumblings, they do the same trumpeting. I've never seen Asian elephants in real life. However, I have seen a few documentaries about them. And yeah, I think that they'd be able to understand each other. You know what? They might just have a different accent. So it'd be like somebody communicating with me from South Africa, and then you'd have somebody coming from Thailand, and there would maybe be a little bit of miscommunication, but in the end, you know, you understand each other. So Michael, I hope that answers your question about communication between the different subspecies of elephants. You can see that little one pulling away at the sickle bush. There isn't really anything for them to eat at the moment. There's lots of sickle bush around here, which is good. They're welcome to munch away and remove all of that. That's actually not a sickle bush. That one is eating an acacia of some sort. Sorry, not a sickle bush. So that one's actually got lucky and munching away on a little bit of greenery and trying to eat the bark, which is proving quite difficult. You can see that he's trying to use his foot as well now. Can you lift it that high? I don't think so. And now they're going behind us. Oh, we've got an elephant. I'm going to reposition because we've got an elephant drawing just behind us. Let me see if I can very quickly angle the vehicle slightly. I'm going to do a 67-point turn. David, I haven't forgotten your question. I'm going to get to you now. I just want to have very quickly park my vehicle like this because look at this one. It's drawing and loosening up the sand. Well, this is what we call an elephant drawing, I suppose. He's actually trying to have a little dust bath. So David wants to know, how do you tell the ages of the different animals, of the different elephants, sorry. It's actually not so bad. In the beginning, when you're first looking at elephants and you don't really have much experience around them, it can be quite confusing. So for a little one, I find it's actually quite easy. So for little elephants, sort of say a really small one still looks a bit pink, a little bit wrinkly. You can sort of, I'd say, look at the trunk. Look at the trunk. That tells you exactly how old they are. If they haven't got a very good use of their trunk, so they're sort of wiggling it around, throwing it around, well then I would suggest that they're probably 6 months or less. If they get to about a year, they start to have a relatively good understanding of their trunk. But there's so many different muscles in their trunk. I've heard different stories of how many muscles. I've heard there's 10,000, I've heard there's 60,000 and all sorts. And I think there are a lot of muscles in their trunk. So from a young elephant's perspective, how well it can use its trunk will determine its age. Then the tusks. The tusks usually start protruding through the folds of skin at about 2 years old. Obviously, every elephant is slightly different. It's all got to do with genetics. So, for instance, if we look at this one over here, this looks like a male that we're looking at. And you can see how his tusks are protruding out. I reckon he's probably between, because he's a boy, maybe he's between 5 and 8 years old, somewhere around there. I'm just giving a rough estimation because once again, genetics plays a big role. Some elephants may be bigger at 6 years old than others, or their tusks may have grown a little bit quickly, but generally you can just see the tusks just protruding underneath the folds of skin at about 2 years old. Hey, look at us, we've got a fight. Not a real one, of course. There's 2 young boys who are slightly younger than the one we were just looking at. He seems to be a little bit taller than these. So I reckon these guys are about 5 years old over here that we're watching now. One is armed with a sword, which is unfair. The other one is now eating. So that one's got tusks and a sword in its mouth, as you can see, in the form of a stick or a branch. And now they've settled down. But this often happens with the elephants when they are young boys. They move away and start pushing each other. So Dara wants to know, does an elephant's eyelashes go grey as they get old? Let's have a look at this there's a beautiful big cow coming towards us. I'm actually just wanting to I don't think she's going to come towards us. I think she's going to cut in and go and feed them. We're going to find an elephant that we can zoom in onto the eyelashes quite nicely. Have we got anybody but an older elephant? Let's see. Maybe she's going to come towards us. So just keep watching. That's it. We're zooming into an older female, and she's got a calf that's suckling just next to her. Can you see any grey eyelashes? I can't. They still look lovely and black to me, so no need for mascara. Sorry.
No, you may have just muted it.
Hello, can you hear me? Yep. Sorry. I'm pushing buttons in my pocket. Apologies, everyone. Now we've got a very close look of an elephant and her eyelashes. And Dara, no, I don't think their eyelashes go grey as they get older. They seem to stay lovely in dark and black. So no need for tinting, unlike myself. I have to get my eyelashes tinted once a month. Got to try and act a little bit feminine when we're out in the bush. I'm going to reposition quickly because we have a civilian mobile vehicle trying to get past us and trying to tackle the elephants. Rightio, I'm going to spend a little bit more time with these elephants, and I think we're going to go over to James. See you later.
Hello everybody. I found quite an interesting artifact here. It is an old elephant tusk, you can see, and in fact I found it the very same elephant tusk on bushwalk before, and then I tossed it, but I've kept it now because we're going to stick it in the tent. We need to gather some new artifacts, and during the winter that is no easy feat. But here it is snapped off, and I suspect it probably snapped off there sometime during the course of... Just listen. I'll talk to you now about the elephant tusk, everybody. There's some impala over there, and they're alarm calling. We heard them alarm calling earlier. They looked spooked. I think they could be alarming at us now, but I don't know that they'd be doing it like that. We're not behaving like predators at all. We think that there might be something around here. Perhaps Shadow the leopard. That's what we were hoping to kind of bump into as we came down here. Maybe Sindile, something like that. But they're not happy. Now, normally they would allow us to get a little bit closer than they have now, and they normally wouldn't alarm call at people. They don't do that a lot, but they look very spooked. Now, they could be very spooked for two reasons. One, they've seen a predator. Two, it could just be that it's windy, and so they're nervous when they see us walk through the bush here. It might just be that. But I think they've seen something earlier, because they certainly alarm called before we saw them. Right, so Rex is just over there. He's going to see what he can find. I'll just quickly finish the story of the elephant tusk. You've seen them using their elephant tusks. Really, really impressive way that they use them to break off branches and things. But sometimes they break, and I'm sure that's due to some kind of nutritional deficiency. Jamie has now got one of the scruffiest but most impressive birds of the Leopard.
They are incredibly impressive, also a little bit scruffy. A crested barbet pecking frantically away at what I can only imagine would be termites, although I can't see anything. But he's been very, very, very busy, plucking away since the moment that we stopped. And they are such incredibly striking birds with the bright yellow and the black and the white. And then, if you look really, really carefully, the reds, streaks of red around the face and the chest and underneath the tail. Absolutely beautiful birds. Very, very busy. There must be something exciting there. I couldn't begin to imagine what it is. Barbets have quite a versatile diet. So seeds and insects, bits of fruit. They're not too fussy about what they eat, and their broad bill is actually incredibly powerful. They can use it to make their own holes in trees, their own nesting holes in trees, rather like a woodpecker. So they are equally capable of constructing something like that. That's just how powerful their bills truly are. You often find them in groups, and there's two here. There's the one that we are looking at, and then there's one slightly off to the left of him, or her. I can't tell. It's impossible to tell. If you look, you got it. Well done. Well done, Jandre. It's very common to see them at least in mated pairs, especially at this time of year. And you sometimes get them living in cooperative groups. So essentially they are cooperative breeders. Oh my goodness, sorry. I'm distracted by something. Oh, shame, buddy. You came to the wrong neighborhood. Let's try and get you out. Now, Brent, of course, yesterday was incredibly warm, and Brent was eating snap lollies, ice lollies, that we get in South Africa. That brings back memories of being a child. And some poor driver ant has obviously been attracted to the stickiness in it and come to have a drink, and now it's stuck, and I think I'm just going to have to shake him loose. I think it's the only way of dealing with this. A red driver ant. Quite a nasty bite, sting. I don't want to trap him, but I've got to get him out of here. Shame. Let me try and do this. I'm completely distracted by this poor thing's struggles. Let's try and get you out. Do you have a Leatherman on you, Jandre? That's going to be, I think, the best way of doing this without hurting it. Thank you very much. Oh no, microphone, don't do that. The clip's just come loose. It's gone disappearing. Okay, so I think the best way we're going to manage this is to... Oh my goodness. Where are your scissors? Please find your scissors. Sorry, Jandre. Otherwise I'm going to stab it by mistake. Thank you very much. Here we go. Right, I think this is going to be the easiest way of releasing this poor chap. Without squishing him. Careful, no, don't come that way, don't come that way. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Right. Here we go. Come on. Is it not quite big enough? No, not quite big enough just yet. Shame, poor thing. And they're generally nocturnal creatures, the driver ants. You see them at night, attracted to the lights. There we go. Let's set you free. Okay, let's go over to James, see what's happening on foot.
This is what we came to see, everybody. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see it, but just over there is a leopard. Yes. And Viam can see her ears. How cool is this? So, I'm just going to ask them to tell Jamie or Taylor they need to come straight to Impala Plains, the southern Impala Plains on Balanites Road. And this is where they're going to find Shadow, hopefully. And what we will do is stay right here and just see if we can't get a slightly better view. What we don't want to do, though, of course, is frighten her away so that the vehicles don't see her. Where's she gone, Viam?
She's up. You can see her face right down the corner.
I can just see spots, Viam. I'm glad you can see her face. Well done. That's fantastic stuff. All right, shall we try and stand and we'll see if she won't just let us view her quickly. I just saw her nipping through the bush. She tried to hide from us. It's exactly what spooked those impala. It's so nice when your guesses actually turn into something. What's she doing now? All right, we'll try and get another view, everybody. I'm just going to ask Kirsty to confirm that she's told Jamie or Taylor about this, and if not, then I'll try and call them in on the radio. Because I think they're both quite far away from this position. Can you still see her, Viam?
Going flat again.
Jamie's 7 minutes away. That basically means she's at the other end of the property. Let's just try and get another view. Rex, what do you think?
I stand here.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm going to go this way and just see if I can't get another view. Jempy, do you want to follow me or you got a view there? If you've got a view, stay. Now what we don't want to do here is give her the impression that we're trying to stalk her, which most certainly we are not. And so we just want to walk kind of casually, like we're on a Sunday stroll, and almost pretend that we cannot see her. This is so awesome. I tell you, the feeling when you see a leopard, even though it's a terrible view of them running through the bush, or just walking through the bush, slinking leopard-like, it's just so special. This is exactly why I came into this area. I just had a little feeling this morning. I can't see her anymore, can you? I do wonder how many leopards we walk past. We're not far from her now. Probably about, 100 feet or so. I'm just going to keep moving here. Now, I suppose many of you would be wondering if there's danger involved in this. I suppose there's an element of it. Were we to corner her, then absolutely there would be danger. But at the moment, because it's open, the greatest danger we face is spooking her and not seeing her again. I can't see her, Vim. Can you?
Negative.
No, I can't see her at all. Just going to keep walking this way. We're quite close to the Arathusa boundary as well. And James Richard, you say a cat-a-day leopard on bushwalk. We don't see that every day. No, we certainly don't, James. I don't think she's moved, but she could easily have. You know how amazingly clever these leopards are at disappearing. No, I can't see her anymore. I think she's skedaddled. She may have just lain down, of course. Let's just keep going round this way. Let's see if we can't get one more view, because it would be a shame. Because, she won't react at all to Taylor in the vehicle or Jamie in the vehicle. She'll be completely relaxed around them. And then you can have a great view of her. And that's the great thing about the bushwalk, or that's one of the whole purposes, is that we'll find an animal like this and then call the vehicles in, because, of course, we're never going to get the same view. It's twice as exciting for me to find them on foot, but you don't get the same view or the same time with them as you would in a car. Yeah, you got a duiker.
Yes.
There's a duiker maybe being stalked. The duiker can see us. This is amazing. That is a skinny duiker. I'm going to watch behind the duiker, just see if I can't see the leopard perhaps stalking. Jamie is now 2 minutes away. You stick on the duiker, VMP. I'll try and see if I can find the leopard. Rex is standing off to the left of us, seeing if the leopard doesn't perhaps pop its head up out of the bushes. You still see that there's a duiker disappearing behind us. Now, these leopards are habituated enough, Sometimes. It depends who this is. It might be Shadow. It could be Sindila. I don't know. Did you think it was Shadow? Liam reckons he's pretty sure it was Shadow. And she shouldn't be that nervous of us on foot, So it wouldn't surprise me were she to kind of not worry about us and try and stalk the duiker. But I don't see her. I think I can hear Jamie's vehicle approaching now. Kirsty, both girls are coming into the sighting. Girl power, cat-a-day. Very nice. Right. I can hear the revving of an engine, but I think that's on the other road. So, Kirsty, what you need to tell her to do is come to the junction of Impala Road and balanites. And just to the east of that position is where we are in the clearings. I'm going to just do a little bit of a foray through here. This is just amazing. I can't describe the feeling of seeing a leopard like this on foot. Rex is just still standing by where he was, just to see if we don't get another view. I've seen some more impala now. She could, you know what, she could easily have disappeared from here and we wouldn't know about it. Let's go a little bit closer, Vimpy. Now, we want to work parallel with the line that she was walking, not straight at her. We don't want to pretend that we're invisible. We don't want to kind of walk violently. We want her to think that we haven't seen her and that we're just walking gently past. Now, she was right in these little thickets to the left of us here. And Rais, as you say, Rexon knows Shadow from when she was a tiny, tiny little cub. That's absolutely right. Now I can see the vehicle. Tell her to stop there, Kirsty, if you don't mind. Right. Basically, directly to her left, she should be able to see, sorry, to her right-hand side, she should see Rexon, and we're just forward and to the right of that. I can see Jamie through there now. If she looks to her right, Kirst, that's exactly... Tell her to come into the block from there, to the right. And that's where we had her. Unless you just... yeah. Right, let's head across to Jamie. We'll do one quick tracking foray onto the road around here and see if we can't pick the tracks up. Let's let Jamie come in if she can find anything.
We've got a really, really exciting start to our morning. I'm just trying to work out exactly where James is, because there was a lot of conversation happening in one go there when I first came into this particular spot. So we've got two hyenas on the main road on Triple M itself, and then Shadow somewhere here, but I can't work out exactly where James is. I can't see him. Can you, Genre? I think I'm going to go on to Triple M itself. And just see if we can't spot them. The impala were all looking in this direction when we first came in. Let's just go nice and slowly. I think she might have crossed towards Arethusa. Let's just carry on. I'm really, really hoping that it is Shadow. It's been a while since we've seen her. The last time we saw her, she was mating with Tingana. But it might help to solve our mystery. There's the hyena. Where is James? That's what I cannot work out. Don't understand how he's managed to remain so hidden. And there are the hyena. They don't look as though they've spotted a leopard. But they might be following behind. Kirsty, can you please ask James if he was north of Balanites Junction Triple M or south? I couldn't hear when he was trying to talk to me. Paging the animals.
Come in.
Standing by. There we go, James on the Game Drive channel.
Jamie, where you first stopped there on Impala Plains, we were just to the south of that position, in the thicket there.
Okay, copy that. Thank you. Was she mobile to the west? Okay, so I'm just chatting to James. Oh, that's not a hyena.
Check the Impala road just to check if she's crossed. She was static at the time.
Vehicles making their way through here. Let's just chat to them off.
Position now.
Triple M Balanites.
She was east of Impala Road.
Okay, copy. That makes more sense. A lot more sense. So, she was east, not west.
Jamie, I've just come off Zoe's and now here, close to Impala Plains.
We've got him. Along Impala Road.
Copy. Got your visual. Okay, they've got her. Let's make this nice and slow. Taylor, just stand by where you are for now so we don't crowd her.
We're moving up.
Okay. Awesome. How cool is this? So there's James. We're just waiting for him to move out and away from the sighting, and then we're going to pull in. This is awesome. So what we're doing is we're just waiting so we don't make her feel pressurized in any way. So we don't scare her, because obviously there's people on foot. Now generally our leopards of the Sabi Sands are incredibly used to leopards moving through the, people moving through the area. They get tracked on a regular basis, so they're very, very comfortable with people on foot. But what we don't want to add is us as well. We're essentially not making them feel too pressured. Now the reason I've called Taylor in is because my tire is slowly going flat. At some point I am going to have to change it, but I just want to establish the sighting. Well done.
Right there.
Thank you very, very much.
She's just at that termite mound. We've got within 10 meters of her. She was just looking at us.
That is so
Probably lost signal,
cool.
I'm afraid. Go and have a look.
Cool. Thank you very much, guys. There's Rexon. Awesome. You got her.
Yeah.
Well done, guys. Can you see her from where you are? Slightly higher position. Hello, Shadow. Okay, I can see she's watching the guys moving off. So we're just going to give her a second and then we're going to move forward. How awesome is this? There is nothing like that experience. James is grinning. He is so excited. Absolutely wonderful. Okay. I'm just going to wait for them to get a little bit further away before we start to move in. And then we can go, hello, girl. It was incredible. They were standing right where we are here. It's such a fantastic experience. There you go. You can see she's calmed down. Body language is relaxed. Absolutely wonderful. So we've had hyena and now a leopard. Okay. Hello, Shadow. The last time we saw her, she was mating with Tingana, being closely watched by Karula the entire time, who is her mother. And it has led us to some very serious concerns about the safety of her cub. Definitely Shadow. So she has a 6-month-old cub, or had, we're not quite sure. And there's something strange about Shadow's biology, that she seems to go into estrus much earlier than a female leopard with cubs would normally do. And what that means is that she has to leave the cub for an extended period of time. Oh, up, having a jolly good scratch, see? She couldn't be less concerned. Look at the back of her neck. You can see where it's been bitten by Tingana. She's actually pulled out a big patch of fur there. And that is inevitably from the mating process. And the male grabs the back of the female's neck. But yes, it's a process that lasts for about 4 or 5 days, sometimes even longer. And that means she leaves her cub for 4 or 5 days at a time. Now that doesn't mean, we've just seen the incredible experience with those Nkahuma cubs and the fact that they managed to look after themselves for 3 days. And leopard cubs are even more accustomed to that whole process. So the fact that she's disappeared for periods of time doesn't necessarily mean that she has lost her cub. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call Taylor into the sighting because my tire is gradually going flat. It's okay for now, but it is going to go, and I don't want to get into a position where we can't follow her. Now I'm just waiting for the game drive channel to be free. Plus, it also gives Taylor a really nice chance to meet Shadow, who is one of our favorite leopard characters. She's got a fullish belly. Taylor for Jamie. Come along Impala Road to the north from Balanites Junction. Come join me. The stations we've got: one Fuzzy Ingwe, Shadow, slowly mobile east into the block between Impala Road and Zoe's, just north of Balanites. So she's got a full belly, so she has eaten at some point in... Oh, do you think we can do this? Bit of a tight squeeze here. Here we can. That was about as tight a gap as we could get through. There's Shadow moving in front of us. Slowly marking her territory. So this is the boundary, or at least used to be the boundary, of Karula and her daughter Shadow's territory. Yep, she is definitely scent marking. She's spraying her urine on the different trees. You can see that tail twitching side to side. Let's go catch up with her. Where's Taylor? Come, Taylor, quickly! It's going to get harder and harder to direct her into the sighting. Which way are you going to go, Shadow? Into the monkey orange. Yes, I think that's That's exactly what you're going to do. One of the trickier blocks. Well, the reason I said that this might or used to be the westernmost part of Karula's territory, the sort of the boundary that she says shares with her daughter, is because Shadow's territory has been changing. What does she smelt there? You gonna give us a phlegm and grimace? Oh, you're gonna do it behind the trees. Is because Shadow's been pushed further and further to the east by a large female leopard called safarichey. And safarichey is a little bit larger than Shadow. She's been known to steal kill from Shadow, and she's also got a 14-month-old female cub, or 15-month-old now, female cub called Tiani. And essentially what happens with... there we go, here comes Taylor. She's trying to do the same gap I did. She picked something up. What has she got there? What is that? Oh, she must have a kill somewhere here. That's amazing. How amazing is that? She must have caught something and then come to investigate the sound of James moving through the area. Awesome. Where are you going with that, girl? Go and investigate. Taylor's coming through now. So she will have a good view of her in a moment. Interesting. I wonder what on earth she's got. Looks like an organ that she's got there, or potentially an animal fetus that she has. Alrighty. Taylor, this one's all yours. We're going to send you back over to Taylor's vehicle. She should have a good view. And we will leave Shadow for Taylor to be introduced to.
Hello, hello. So we are looking at Shadows. This is my first leopard since I've been here. Let's actually, I think we're going to have to head back to the road because that's the direction that she's going. So let's try and find an easier way through. I think we're going to go through over here. We're going to try and keep up with her. So I know you viewers at home don't have to watch your heads, but David and I do. Let's try and just keep up with her. Yeah, she's being sneaky. She's going straight back to the road. So I apologize. I'm going to very quickly just try and maneuver through here and find an okay spot out. This looks like it could be a little gap. We're going to do some... Go through here, over this little Logosaurus. I'm going to have to do a bit of re-maneuvering. How am I your side? David, can I go back a little bit? Okay. I forget how small these vehicles are, and they are so nifty. You can just sort of maneuver on around. David, do you think we'll make it through here? This is good. Everybody suck it in as we go under and through this little tree here. We've got to watch the aerial. All good. Here we go. She's on her right. We're going to try and head in here. Verika wants to know, do I have any interesting leopard stories? Yes, I do. I was actually just telling David about one of them. So I'm going to just talk to you while we're going through here. Because it's not a lot of thorns and stuff, but it's quite thick. It's like a warri forest of some sort. My goodness, he's taking us on an adventure. I think we're going to have to go around. So I have got plenty of leopard stories. Is she static? No, she's still going. Okay, I think we're going to have to go around and try and get in here. So, pretty much what Shadow does. We had this one female leopard who left her cub at a very young age, and we haven't seen her since, so we're not sure what happened to her. This is in the southern section of the Sabi Sands, of course. And I'm going to have to go over this little pop-up tree, but it's going to bounce back up, I can assure you. These are quarries. They are tough, strong trees. They are magic, so please don't be concerned about me going over those ones. I don't know how we're going to get into here. let's go through here. We're going to have to go through here, I think. So, anyway, this young male was now off on his own. Should be okay here. A little squeeze. We're going to have to do a bit of strength. Break that little branch. It doesn't break the vehicle. I don't know how we're going to get through here. Okay, let's go around. And I think it's opening up over there. Sorry, we're going to see Shadow again, I promise. And I'm going to tell you my story about the leopard. So, I was watching this young male. He was quite a skittish male to begin with. He settled down nicely after a while. And he saw a little steenbok, which is the smallest antelope that we sort of see in this area, which was quite nice. I thought, how exciting, because he'd been eating tortoises for the last week. So I'm sure he needed something with a little bit more sustenance. And he stalked and stalked and stalked, and he got from about 50 meters, he got right up. And I thought, how exciting. We are going to watch a kill. However, he then got about 2 meters away from it. The steenbok looked at him. He looked at the steenbok. He then rolled over. I don't know why he rolled over. And the steenbok walked away scot-free. Pretty spectacular. There she is. How's that? Can you get her in there? Okay, we've got a tiny little gap, but she's sitting in this forest. And you see her through all the trees that I just had to maneuver through. It's quite a nice little shady spot. But that's my leopard story, which I couldn't quite understand, was the fact that this male leopard, who he hasn't got a name yet, he's still quite young, just rolled over and didn't catch his dinner, which he'd worked so hard for. And now we've got Shadow. I'm actually going to pick my binoculars up because I want to have a closer look at her. Even though I can see her through the screen, binoculars are amazing. I say this all the time, and I'm going to continue saying how fantastic a pair of binoculars are. I think spending money on a good camera and a good pair of binoculars, and you'll be sorted for an African trip. But she's grooming herself now. I don't know what she ate, but it was something relatively small. Maybe she'd killed something a few days ago and it was a last scrap. Maybe she picked up something like a cane rat or a baby common daker, which would make for a very easy meal. And now she's just going to clean herself, because leopards and lions are fairly clean animals. They spend quite a bit of their day grooming. You can see her just licking away, and always looking over her shoulder. Leopard's not quite as relaxed as the lions can be, constantly looking around. Lions have the upper hand of being the top predators in the bush, that they can just relax a little bit more. But she's got quite a nice little sheltered spot. The wind is starting to gust again. The clouds are clearing, the sun is coming out. So I will sit with her and see what she gets up to. Very happy, very comfortable in there. Breathing heavy, a little bit heavy. So if anybody can tell me how old Shadow is, that would be fantastic, because I haven't got a clue on how old she is. The only thing I've really heard about this leopard, how she is not the best mother, unfortunately. So if anybody can let me know about how old this beautiful cat is that we're looking at, that would be fantastic. What's she looking at? You little branches in the way. Sometimes we don't always have the best view. However, it's not too bad. I would still say this is a 5 out of 5 in terms of being able to see from her ears to her nose to the top of her tail. It's actually quite nice. She's just resting for the moment. She could possibly still get up and move once again. Let's see if I can find a better gap, but I think this may be the best spot, actually. She did take us the scenic route round to get here. Sorry if you hear any shuffling, it's me trying to get comfy. Look at that beautiful face. She's lovely. Oh, so see, she got 4 spots on that side of her face. One, two, three, 4. Does anybody also know her spot pattern? I can't see her right side of the face. I can just see the left side. And it's quite interesting. I'm sure you're all aware of how important spot patterns are. Michael, thank you so much. That is so helpful. Michael's just told me that she is 9 years old and she's turning 10 in November. Oh, that's my brother's birthday in November. It's exciting. So she's a well-mature girl. You'd actually think that because she's this age, she'd have good experience with raising cubs. So it's bizarre that she doesn't seem to have a good success rate. And I also must tell you, I was so excited. Just before I left the southwestern corner of the Sabi Sands, I was driving around and I heard that someone had found a leopard quite close to the lodge that I was working at. So it was fantastic. Guess, never been on a safari before. How incredible would it be to have a leopard? So I was very lucky. I was close enough, so I managed to be able to go straight into that sighting. And you wouldn't believe who it was. Sindile. Can you believe it? All the way down in the southwestern corner of the Sabi Sands, literally near the Paul Kruger Gate and from the Kruger National Park. I couldn't believe my eyes. Nobody knew who this leopard was, and they were saying he's got a collar on. Who is he? Everyone's trying, and I felt so impressed with myself because I knew exactly who this leopard was because I'd seen so many photos of him. And I said on the radio very proudly, this is a male leopard by the name of Sindile, and then told the rest of the rangers the story, which was quite nice. So it was very, very exciting to see him down there. I did manage to only get one shot of him. He was, I think he actually takes after his mother, after what she's just dragged us through. He was going through Tamboti thicket, which I'm sure, as you've all seen, if you've been watching the show for a while, is nasty stuff to try and maneuver through. So we managed to find him, and he was perched up on a termite mound, though, in a Tamboti thicket. So I looked through the gap, and I got one snap of him, and he is a beautiful cat. He's going to be a big boy. And so just, is Tingana Sindile's father, or can anybody help me? I'm going to have to rely on a lot of the viewers this morning. So if you can please let me know, you can either hashtag Safari Live for Twitter, or you can email us at questions@wildearth.tv, because I really need some help this morning in trying to learn about the different cats of the Sabi Sands. And we are looking at Shadow at the moment, and I was also talking about Sindile. So I'd like to know who Sindile's father is, and who has Shadow been mating with, or who are the resident male leopards in this area. I could always ask the other rangers, but I think it'd be quite nice to hear from some of you viewers who have been watching this show for a very, very, very long time. And I think you could help me out quite a bit. So I'll be waiting patiently for some responses, and while we patiently watch Shadow, as she seems to be having a siesta at the moment. So I'm going to go into silent mode just for a few moments, just to see if we can enjoy her. And so you have a break from the sound of my voice too. Lucy, thank you for helping me with the spot pattern of this wonderful female leopard. So it is 3-4 for you. For those of you who don't know, it's quite nice to actually make a note. And I'm just looking to see if I can see like any little indicating features. If she's got a scar anywhere, if she's got maybe a notch out of her ear. She's got quite a pink nose for an older girl. So that's quite interesting. You don't always see that. So that's really nice. So thank you so much, Lucy, for that. I'm going to have to make a note of that and put it in my notebook. There we go. I can see the 3 and then that other little blotch at the back on her left side of the face. Okay, very nice. So there were 4. We've got, as you can see, we've got a little bit of an obstructed view. She's looking around quite nicely. We've got a few other people coming to have a look too. She's lovely, just relaxing here. Just want to quickly speak to Jamie, so please excuse me. Jamie Taylor. I think Jamie is fixing her I've got Jamie. Let me just quickly... Jamie, do you know who's coming into this Ingwe lock? Copy. Which mobiles approaching this Ingwe lock? Okay, copy. And who's on standbys? Okay, copy. Sorry, everybody. I just very quickly wanted to share this beautiful sighting with the rest of the rangers that traverse on the various properties. So for those of you who maybe have just tuned in, we are on Djuma Private Game Reserve, which is situated in the Sabi Sands in the heart of South Africa. The Sabi Sands, I reckon, has got the best game viewing in the country. We're very, very spoiled. There's obviously lots of wonderful places to go on safari all over Africa. But I reckon here, you shake the trees and the leopards fall out of them, as you can see. So we're very, very lucky. So if you ever want to come on a safari and you want to have a look at especially the lions and the leopards, you got to come to the Sabi Sands. They are so well documented as well that you can follow their story. I'm sure you've seen all the different documentaries about the Mapochos and the different coalitions of male lions in this area, or the different leopards. So, if you're thinking of coming and visiting us, which I hope you do, and hopefully I get to meet some of you someday, is have a look at their stories. Look at them a little bit, read a little bit about them. So when you come here, you know so much more about them. That's what I'm still waiting for some information about this lovely little cat behind us and who Sindile's father is. If someone can please help me out. It would be really useful. I've got a little notebook, so I'm taking notes so I can learn the different individuals of the Northern Sabi Sands, which would be quite exciting. But she's really not doing too much. She's still just laying around. Big belly. It's quite a nice spot. So if I was her, I'd maybe stay here and have a little snooze for the afternoon. We've got a few people circling on the outside. What are you doing, big girl? Just resting. It'd be quite interesting. Would have been nice to know what she had eaten, because she's got quite a big belly. So I wonder if she hasn't actually just been in this sort of guarri thicket for a few days now, munching away on something that we didn't even know about. It's very, very thick. We would never see her from the road unless she was possibly moving. But thankfully, thank goodness for James. What a well spot, and what an exciting animal to find on foot too. I don't know if you managed to get to see any of the footage. Normally with the leopard sighting, I can imagine it wouldn't be a very long one. It would be quite a quick one. But that is so fantastic. So thank you, James. You are the saving grace today. So speaking of leopards, I've been hearing this name, the Anderson male, and Anna Marie has just asked me if I've ever seen the Anderson male. No, I have not. However, I believe there is a big dispute in the Sabi Sands as to who is bigger, the Anderson male or a male by the name of Mbavala, he lives down actually on the reserve I used to work at. We used to see him in the Sabi River quite a bit. So he sort of traverses between Sabi and Lion Sands, and I suppose the Kruger National Park as well, sort of the Paul Kruger Gate area. And he is a monster. We actually call him Vin Diesel as a nickname on the reserve. That's how big he is. So I'd love to see the Anderson male. I believe he seems to be pushing his territory a bit further north, if I'm not mistaken, which is quite exciting. I would absolutely love to see him and then be able to tell for myself who I think is the biggest. It would depend on a few factors, though. Whoever's eaten the biggest meal will then obviously look much larger. I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. Goodness gracious. Must be allergic to the cats. No, I'm just joking, Shadow. And so, yes, Anna Marie, no, I haven't, but yes, I would love to. I've seen a few of Mbavala's offspring. And there's this one male called the Flat Rock male. He's got a big gash up, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's his right leg or his left leg. I can't remember, one of his front legs from fighting, but it's not causing him any severe problems. He's walking around like normal. It's sort of it's a superficial wound. And he is 3 years old, and he has got a dewlap at 3. Well, there's one coming. I could not believe my eyes. So I think, listen, if the Anderson male is anything what Vin Diesel looks like, it would be very impressive, and I'd love to see him. That would be really nice. So I've got a long wish list since I've been here for a whole 48 hours, and I've ticked the top one off the list was to see one of the northern Sabi Sand leopards. And Shadow, who I've heard lots about, and it's nice because I've seen her son, I can tick you off the list. And now I can probably identify you next time if I find you. It's lovely. And those of you at home, if you didn't tune in yesterday, remember I said to you that we should do a calendar and call it Bums of Africa, but you've got to do your screenshots. How's that coming along? I know we haven't got a leopard bum shot at the moment, but I just wanted to remind you because I think that would be quite an interesting thing to see. The Safari Live calendar of Bums of Africa. So I've got lots of bum shots, but they don't count because they're not from here. So I'll also start doing one. I would like to try and snap a little photo, just so I have some reference when I see her next time, what she looks like. But it's difficult because we've got lots of trees in the way. James Richard, thank you so much for getting back to me so promptly. James has just let me know about one of the questions I was asking all the viewers at home, who Sindile's father is. So I believe there's quite a dispute at the moment between the Anderson male, between, I don't know, so who's the one with the M? Mbavala, not Mbavala. Mvula, sorry. So I'm just thinking of Mbavala from down in the south. So Mvula or Tingana. That's exciting. So I wonder who it is. It's obviously quite difficult. We are so fortunate to see so many different male leopards in this area. That's exciting. My money would maybe be on Tingana because, James, you said he is the resident male. So I think he'd normally have first dibs unless this lovely lady decided to venture on further south or further north or east. So, but we'll see. Maybe we'll see what Sindile's personality is like as he gets a little bit older, and hopefully we'll be able to go from there and actually see if he's like or similar personality to any one of the other 3 males that were just mentioned. Goodness, got it. There's lots of action. Big birds flying in the sky, not really big birds, aeroplanes. Some guests obviously very lucky to come and visit us at the Sabi Sands. Is anybody planning on coming to visit us? in the neighboring reserves, either on Arethusa or anything like that? Oh, now the wind is picking up again. I know that Shadow's not doing much. At least she's looking around at us and we're not looking at a flat cat. There is nothing worse than watching cats sleep. I think that is on the bottom of my list of things to see. I would rather watch grass grow than have to see sleeping cats. That is not my favorite thing. But I am an elephant fan, as you all know. Elephants are my favorite. I wish you would come out for us. Maybe I can get a little gap here to take a little picture. Bums of Africa, everybody. I'm not going to let that go while I'm here. You're going to have to get rid of me. Bums of Africa. You have until December to do your calendars. It'd be so cool to see that. Like you've got a stick in your face. I have one. That'll do. My photo. Don't you see my photo? You can. It's not that nice. But here's my photo. There's lots of sticks in the way.
Oh, just take it a bit further away.
Oh, I'm too close. A little bit shiny. I think, can you see it? Oh, look, there it is. Lots and lots of sticks. So I shall maybe post that a little bit later. I'm very excited because I got to see my first leopard in the northern Sabi Sands while working at Safari Live. It's so exciting. Yes, I love high fives. Can you high five the viewers? Sorry, Dave. No, you can have another one because you never leave anybody hanging. Everybody, that's like life 101. You've got, if someone puts their hand up to a high five, even if you don't know the person, you've got to give them a high five. It's hugely. Oh goodness, no. I've lost something. Oh, I've got it again. And so I'm putting it back in my pocket. Okay. Am I still talking nicely? That's good. That's good, that's good. Oi. Turning around again. Hello, lovely lady. Are you going to come out for us? Or are you just going to sit there? Not even grooming anymore. Like I said, at least she is not horizontal. But she's got her eyes closed now. I think she's probably a few minutes away from being horizontal. No, open again. She's so lovely. My goodness, Bart, I don't know if I can recite all of that. Let me just get FC to tell me again what you were telling me about what shadow is also known as. Let me just get that again. Ah. Okay. Thank you. Actually, I need to get my notebook out and take some notes because that is very interesting. Bart just told me that Shadow's name was Tingana, and then she is the daughter of... Now I've forgotten again. What is wrong with me? I'm so sorry. I've got breakfast brain this morning. She's the daughter of Queen Karula, the granddaughter of Safari. Very nice. Okay, I need to remember this. I'm going to be reciting it in my head 100 times until I get it right. These names are very unfamiliar to me, some of these ones. So I need to get used to them. Ah, okay, Bart. And to add as well, her sister's name is Tundi. So Shadow has a sister named Tundi. Where does she live? Where does she traverse? Was she pushed out quite far away? Is she further south? Is she further north? Is she further east of us? Be quite nice to know, because often moms and their daughters will live in close proximity to each other. You find that mother of a female, of her daughter, they tend to move a little bit. Sorry, I'm getting some inside intel here from the powers that be. So apparently we actually see Tundi. So that's another one I need to add to the list because I didn't know of Tundi. So I need to add Tundi. And apparently you see her around Cheetah Plains area. So that's quite exciting. I haven't quite ventured on over towards Cheetah Plains just yet. But sorry, as I was saying, is that female leopards will often move out and open up part of their territory for their daughters so that they can live in that area. And we used to actually see that quite often. So it wouldn't surprise me that Tundi is so close by, which is quite nice. And yes. Let me call. Someone's trying to come in. A mobile staying by for this Ingwe, like you can make your approach. Sorry, I'm just trying to let this vehicle in. What road are we on?
This is just off Triple M.
Triple. Your mobile's on Triple M. You can make your approach. Just trying to let everybody know how to get here because they're just watching us, and I'm doing a lot of talking this morning, which is my second favorite thing to do. I don't know. Okay. What are you doing, Shadow? Nothing. Still just sitting around. What are you doing, girl? What are you thinking? If I could have a superpower, I wish my one superpower that I would have, I don't even know if you're interested in this, but I'm just going to tell you anyway. I would love to be able to talk to animals, any animal, an insect, a bird, and everything. That would be what I would absolutely love to chat about, which will be amazing. Can you imagine you having a very quiet morning? Like sometimes we actually have quiet mornings often in the bush, which is okay. Animals need a break too. You drive past a herd of impala because they seem to be around all the time. And you say to them, hey, Bob, or because obviously you know them by name now, and you'd say to them, hey, listen, have you seen any leopards, any lions, last night, maybe at the local watering hole, there's a 2-for-1 special or something like that. And that would be great. And then they'd be like, oh, yes, great. And then you could also warn them. You could say, listen, I'm going to give you a helping hand. Don't go down Impala Road today because I saw a pride of lions there. And then maybe they say, oh, great, we actually just passed a leopard up in the tree with Jenny, who unfortunately didn't make it last night, something along those lines. I think that would be a great talent to have, to be able to talk to animals. So we seem to be having a big 5 drive this morning, which is actually quite nice. So we've seen the elephants. We've had elephants with me. We've had elephants with James. We've seen the leopard. Now we're going to shoot to Jamie, who's got something else for you.
All the way across towards Zoe's Road, where we've been stopped changing our tyre, watched closely and carefully by these large buffalo bulls that have slowly been making their way towards us. So we're back up and running, thank goodness. Connor had to come to our rescue because we couldn't get our spare tyre off, which is most embarrassing, very sad. But Connor came to our rescue, and he has since headed off to go and see if he can sort out whatever problems are happening with the bushwalk backpack signal. We've got these 4 buffalo bulls here, but we're not going to stick with them for too long. The reason I say that is because James has asked us to race through to Sandy Patch to have a look around there. He says there's lots and lots of vultures and perhaps there is a kill. I do, however, have some very, very interesting news for all of you. While I was changing the tyre, I was listening keenly to the Game Drive channel, as you do, of course, because you want to know what you're missing while you're busy doing something else. Junior's back. He's on Buffelshoek, close to the Manuletti boundary. They think it's Junior. Junior is the young male from the Nkuhuma Pride that has since dispersed. He is with another male, which has sort of been the case with Junior for the last few months. He managed to find a buddy, which is exactly what he needed, because one male lion alone is in a dangerous position. But with two or more, then it definitely... Oh, handbrake's up. Such a careful tire changer. Oh, that was the chock. As you can see, we're all in one piece, which is the mark of a successful tire change. You never want the jack to go and smack you in the face or something similar. But we're going to go and figure out exactly what's happening here. It sounds like, and I'm going to double check this with Taxon after drive, it sounds as though the 4 Birmingham boys are also on Buffelshoek. Hook. So somehow they have reconvened, and then there's Junior wandering about. The Nkuhumas apparently are quite nervous. They are also on Buffelshoek, but a little bit further to the east, towards Nyala Dam. So interesting things happening with our lion dynamics. Ooh, some skinny-looking buffalo here. I wonder if perhaps that's not what we're going to go and search for on Sandy Patch, with all of those vultures. Very, very interesting times. Of course, as much as we are happy to hear that Junior is alive and well, the last thing we want him to do is go anywhere near the Nkuhumas. He is a serious threat to those brand new beautiful little cubs. As a young male, his instinct is going to be to do some interesting thing, potentially kill them, which is exactly not what we want. Sorry, I'm getting the word interesting stuck in my head because Rex is trying to catch me. Go ahead, Rexon. Let's go. Let's carry on.
Jimmy, if you don't mind, check on Triple M. There's quite a lot of vultures descending very close to the road, but inside Simbili site.
Okay, copy that. Thank you. I'll check with the stations in the west as well.
Cool, thank you. Jeremy,
Standing by. Oh, I'm so popular this morning. Everyone wants to talk to me. Tax, last I heard, he was still with Taylor, but close to he was close to Triple M. I'm not sure if she's crossed.
Okay. Copy, thank you.
Remember, she's sometimes the English still static and sick worry second.
Well done, Taylor. She's got this under control. What a pro. It's always difficult when you first start working here because you've got this constant, you've got the game drive comms in your ear and you've got obviously final control with the questions, and it all can get a little bit overwhelming at times with so much information being fed through. And that's why we all still do the slack-jawed expression. We're in the middle of talking and all of a sudden we go, while we listen to whatever's going on in our ear. Especially when there's some interesting things happening here on the game drive comms. Right, so Taylor doing a marvelous job. One thing I did notice on my way along to change my tyre, I was trying to get as close to camp as possible so that Connor could rescue us, was the first millipede of the season. I don't know why it decided to pop out at the moment because we're still a long way from any rainfall, and that's generally when we get to see them coming out. And Sean, you wanted to know if we've seen an increase or a decrease in any animal species because of the drought. There's no major noticeable impact on the mammal species yet. They are not looking fantastic. The most noticeable impact we are seeing is on the insect life. And we're going out on bushwalk, and I mean in summer we go out and bushwalk and we'll see hosts of insects, and we'll stop at every single tree and termite mound and there'll be something for us to see there. At the moment the insect life is particularly depleted, except for the mosquitoes. There are lots and lots of mosquitoes, I know, because they kept me up all of last night. And Jerry, when I arrived this morning, was desperately trying to spray her room and then shut the door to try and get rid of them. And the rest of us have got fans on full blast to try and keep them away. So the mosquitoes are fine. They're okay. Nobody needs to be too concerned about our mosquito population. Amphibians there'll be a noticeable drop. There was a noticeable drop last year in summer, and we typically don't start to hear the frogs call until the first rains, but I'm not familiar with this area. I've only been in this area during the drought, but I expected to see and hear more frogs. There have been hardly any. Fish, there'll be a massive drop in the fish population. That makes sense. Their dams are all drying up. Even the catfish, some of whom will survive, thanks to that mucus-encased membrane that they can live in, even they will start to struggle. Obviously, we've seen the fish eagles. So this is what Rexon is trying to draw our attention to. Sorry, just while we're driving along. I know we've got power lines in the way, but we do have lots and lots and lots of vultures gathering. Hooded, white-backed, a whole host of them starting to spiral through the air. It's still a little bit chilly this morning. Now they're struggling with the thermals. But Rexon says they are all descending around Simbambili. And perhaps that is where those hyenas were on their way to. We didn't get to catch up with them, did we? Because we got distracted by the leopard. We don't even know which clan they came from, which is always a pity. I enjoy a good spotted hyena sighting. But perhaps we'll get to see them now as we make our way towards Triple M. I'll double check once I get a bit closer what's happening that side. Unfortunately, if it is a kill on Simbambili, as you know, we can't go there. Welcome to Kevin in Texas. It is lovely to hear from you. You are a new viewer. Welcome to the Sunrise Safari. He wants to know what animals are the most abundant on the safari experience. It depends upon where you are, of course. Here in South Africa, particularly in the Kruger National Park, your most abundant mammal species, at least, will be the impala. I was looking around for some to show you, and there we go. We've got some right here. So the most numerous antelope that we get, in fact the most numerous mammal species that we get, oh, hold on. This leopard walked along this road. Remember we started off the morning, sorry Kevin, remember we started off the morning talking about the male leopard. He's somewhere here. Here's our impala species. Hello. Good morning. It's okay, don't run away. There's our impala, the most numerous of the antelope species. If you were to go to somewhere like Kenya, you'd get lots and lots of different gazelle species, as well as the wildebeest, of course, which during the migration gather in enormous numbers. So it just happens to depend upon where you are. I could just, I'm sorry, I'm having a quiet chuckle because I know I can read Connor's thoughts from here. He's wondering, are we live and will he have to be on camera? Because it is, of course, Connor's absolute worst. He hates it. So what we're going to do is we're going to try not to embarrass him because it's not very fair. He doesn't like it at all. He is an engineer. So what we'll do is we'll pull up on side of them, and Jandre is going to... Jandre is going to not zoom in on poor Connor. No, you're not. No, you're not. I'll put my hand over the camera. We're going to be nice to Connor this morning. Poor Connor. He's trying to, I bet you he's trying to think whether or not he can reverse backwards and disappear. He's trying. Oh, engine's gone on. Poor Connor. Shame. Stations in Konzo 4, Madoda Ingwe, going along Voya Telemain access between Gallagher Shortcut and Aubrey's Road. Are you going to behave, Jandre? You are going to behave. Yes, you are. Hello, everybody. Hello, Bushwalk team.
I must just apologise for the ambient up. I must just apologise, everybody. I believe you saw me having something that might be described as a hissy fit, and that was because we were standing 15 metres from shadow, and we had no signal, which made me very cross indeed. Indeed, I think that the hissy fit I threw was in proportion to my general state of frustration.
It happened with me with a lion once, and VM as well.
I bet you didn't show a hissy fit, though.
I didn't, no.
No, you see.
Sorry.
So I do apologise.
That's
We're
quite
going
right.
home, obviously. We've been rescued by this fine fellow to my right-hand side here. And we'll see you
Okay,
later.
we're going to leave.
All right, enjoy.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're going to see what's happening. Did you see any leopard tracks on your adventures there?
No.
Male leopard tracks, I mean.
Stop looking.
But I had that leopard. There's not someone that the first one down, but it's straight north.
Maybe. There's tracks going this way though. Oh well. Anyway, we're going to see
Good
what's
luck.
happening. Thank you very much. But Taylor's ended up with a boundary leopard sighting.
Jimmy.
Okay. Cheers, guys. Okay. I'm in desperate demand on the Game Drive channel this morning. I'm not sure what's going on. Let's go over to Taylor, have a look at what's happening with Shadow. Stand.
Welcome back to Safari Live, everybody. I hope Jamie treated you well. Just turning down the volume of the radio drive comms. Is very noisy out there today. So we are still with Shadow, and she still hasn't done very much. So for those of you that are maybe just tuned into the show, we are in Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands, which is in the heart of South Africa, and we are looking at one of the wonderful leopards that roam around in this area, and her name is Shadow. She's an older girl. So I'll just do a quick little recap, I suppose. Older girl, she had a little bit to eat. We're unsure of what she's eaten, but you can see by the size of her belly, it was a good meal. Now, she has groomed herself already. Occasionally she gives a few little licks on the paws, but otherwise, I think she is just digesting at the moment. You can see she's panting quite heavily. It's not particularly hot at the moment. I'm still wearing a jacket to keep nice and warm. And the reason why they pant like that after they've had a big meal is all that food is pushing so much pressure up onto the diaphragm, onto the lungs, so it doesn't allow her to take big, deep breaths. She's having to take short, little breaths, which is all right, I suppose. It doesn't really do her much harm. What would be really nice is if she went to go and have a drink of water to help digest that food, and it would obviously be great for us to see her up and moving around. She's still just looking around. She did go flat, actually, while you were with Jamie. She went horizontal for about a minute, and then she sat up again, thankfully, which is nice. But I think she may sleep here, although it's not very hot, like I said, and there's a bit of wind. So maybe she will get up and relocate and change her position. However, we won't know. No, oh, no, it looked like she was going to fall. Oh, that's comfortable now. Oh, lovely. You know what this reminds me of was when I was in school, and I used to sleep in the classroom, and I used to put my, because I was very naughty at school, unfortunately, sorry teachers, I used to put my hands on my desk and put my head between them, and that's what that reminded me of. I don't even want to respond to that. Okay, so my pesky brother at home, who's naughty, Sean has just asked me if I remember hitting my dad when he hung me out the window at the lion sighting in the Kruger National Park. That's not really 100% true. Sean, I spoke to you about this before I left. I said you're not allowed to ask me questions. No, I don't remember that because I was about 3 years old, and I don't think Dad hung me out the window. I think I was doing something else, but I'm not going to engage in that. I'm going to ignore that comment, and we're going to look at the leopard because I'm embarrassed now. So thank you very much, Sean. Pesky brothers. You know what little brothers are like. I don't even have to explain them. Oh, look, we've got a sleeping leopard now. A carpet of rosettes. She actually blends in really, really well. She looks like the leaf litter. especially at this time of the year. So, Christopher from Arizona, you would like to know, how are leopards aware of other leopards sort of encroaching in their territory? Or from a variety of different things. Obviously, leopards have got phenomenal sense of smell, and they've got great hearing. But now let's go back to the sense of smell. So, male and female leopards are territorial. So that means that they mark and defend territories. So if another male leopard or another female leopard were to come through an area, I'm pretty sure they're going to scent mark. So whether that be via urine, spraying it up on a tree, or even walking towards a shrub, and you know how your cat at home will come towards you and rub its cheeks on your legs. It's not actually coming to say hello, it's marking its territory saying, you're mine. So that's what they'll do. And leopards will constantly patrol their territory. So, for instance, if Shadow was maybe moving around doing a territorial patrol, she would notice another scent of another leopard. And she may investigate. If it's another female, that female is going to be in a bit of trouble. Even if it's her daughter, once they start to get older, they sort of become less and less tolerant of them. So, that sense of smell being the first thing, and obviously by sight and by hearing. They may just be walking around, and like how we sometimes find animals, we just spot them. They might do the same thing. If it's another female, there probably is going to be an argument. The same thing if it was two rival males. There's probably going to be a big argument until one of them becomes submissive and either moves off. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what would happen. But I wouldn't like to be... I've seen female leopards fighting, I've seen male leopards fighting, but the females, my goodness, they're feisty creatures. And they are very protective about their area. But she's now sleeping nicely. Yeah, I've changed my mind. I think I'm going to stick with my guns. She is not going anywhere. I think she's going to sleep here, although the animals don't read the same books as us, and I know everybody uses that, but it's so true. She could actually just get up and start walking now and make me look like a fool, which the animals, I think, love to do. I think they actually plan their day sometimes like that. How can we embarrass Taylor today? Remember, if you do have any questions, you're welcome to send them in. You can either hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you are welcome to email us. Email us at not at email, questions@wildearth.tv. I'm having a tongue-twisted morning today, which is great. I'm going to have to go back. You know what? This sleeping leopard, I think, unfortunately, is going to sleep, and I think we had a great sighting of her with her head up. There's a few other rangers that want to come through and have a look at her too. Jamie's got something with feathers. Let's go have a look and see what she's up to.
We've raced through to Triple M to see what these vultures are up to, including this hooded vulture that, with its short tail, is doing quite a good impression of a batelier in this wind, rocking from side to side. The question is, what is going on that has attracted all of these vultures? They seem to be moving off, though. Now, perhaps it was just that there was a kill somewhere in this vicinity, and they've just been waiting until it warms up ever so slightly before they move off. There's still a very nippy wind. Considerable temp. We seem to be sort of jumping up and down 20 degrees at a time at the moment. Starting off our early mornings very chilly and then shooting right up to nearly 40 degrees. Where are all of these vultures? I see nothing. Saw some fresh hyena tracks going back towards the Manuletti. So perhaps it was our plan that we got to see this morning, albeit very briefly. Oh! There you go, you can see us trundling along. a road known as Triple M. I'm attempting to hold down my hat as we go south, and this is the boundary between Djuma and Simbambili. And then just that little bit further to the south of where we are now is the boundary between Djuma and Arathusa. A lovely corner of the property. Simbambili on my right, Djuma on my left, and a howling gale in my face. Goodness gracious. This wind is ridiculous. I can barely hear myself think. This is a really extreme weather at the moment, and because there's no vegetation, it means that the dust... Better get off the road here. We are on the main access road to the gate, so the gate is just behind me, which is why we've got lots of vehicles coming through. How's it? How are you?
Okay, what's up today? No fires today?
No fires today?
There's something happening there. The guys are standing in a queue.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, there's...
A kilometre and a half back.
Perfect, thank you very much. Cheers, cheers, thank you. What a lovely man. That was so kind of him. He's telling me about Taylor's sighting that is just a little bit further to the south of us. How very, very sweet of him. I'm still sitting, waiting. Let's have a look at our vultures. Are they going down in there? What is this hooded vulture going to do? Battling the elements at the moment. That gentleman who just drove past was much less friendly. There he goes. And... down or up? Don't you ever wonder what birds of prey feel like in this wind? Is it fun, or is it really horrible? Is it slightly scary, like being on a roller coaster? Or is it like a test of their skill, kind of like surfing or something, or paragliding? Okay, so they seem to be, they're still floating about, they're not actually descending. They look as though they want to. And vultures are not the best flyers. They're bulky birds. They don't have the same level of control that some of the other raptors do, which means landings are a little bit tricky and often quite heavy. So it might be that they're trying to sort of line themselves up in the wind. Yeah, they are going down. Let's go see what's happening here. I'm going to switch onto my Western channel and find out. Now they seem to be going down just past this jackalberry. I wonder whether Shadow didn't have a kill and then lose it. Oh my goodness, this is horrible. I feel like we blow away. Perhaps if we sewed our jackets together, we could make a sail and then just put the vehicle in neutral. We'd be absolutely fine. We could sail. Of course, we're wrapped up tight and snug in our warm jackets. Dawson, you're wondering about the colors of the outfits that we wear and whether or not we wear them because it's a good way of blending into the bush and sort of the browns and the dark greens and so on. Hello, bye-bye. It's a circus here this morning. One gentleman was having a little dance in the back of the vehicle. Right, the clothes that we wear them because that is the industry standard. That is what is traditionally accepted as guide clothing. I have to be honest with you, I don't think the animals really care. So they do see in a little bit of colour, so a little bit of blending in is nice, and it looks professional. And white shows up very, very clearly, especially if you're walking, you might want to avoid wearing white or black. And stripy clothes. Red and blue are actually okay, it's not that bad. But stripy... Hello? No, don't you be full of nonsense. I'm not doing anything. I know it's windy. Shame, we've probably had lots of vehicles rushing past us. Hello. Beautiful boy. On windy days like today, the elephants are a little bit more on edge. He gave me a little bit of a head shake as we came past. Beautiful bull. Oh, big boy. And yes, the constant rustling and the noises actually upsets them a little bit. They get very, very uncomfortable. Quite nervous, more so with the breeding herds than with big bulls like this one. They tend to feel quite comfortable. Hello, vultures. Ah, juvenile battalier. Not vulture, juvenile battalier. A dark brown colour, so it hasn't got the beautiful adult plumage. I wonder what they're all gathered here for. They don't seem to be going down. Oh, crossing together. There definitely must have been a kill somewhere along the line. Jerica, New Zealand, you want to know what the biggest carcass is that I've ever seen animals eating. The answer is I've seen them vultures eating. The answer is I've seen them eating off an elephant carcass before. So that would be the largest one. I've also been in some sad situations where I've seen them feeding off rhino carcasses, and a couple of memorable sightings with them all fighting over a giraffe carcass. And it's fascinating to watch when they're all gathered around, because what they start to do is, while they wait for their opportunity to feed, they actually just start to mate with each other. And one female will be sitting in a tree, and a sort of procession of males will come through and mate with them. It's a fascinating situation to get to witness. Okay, well, we better acknowledge the fact that the lovely Taylor has emerged onto Triple M. Nope, she says she's not here, Duck! Well done for handling that sighting. Sorry I couldn't help you more. Cool. And of course, Dave. Wave hello, Dave. Okay. Alright, we're going to move off. I don't think we can see anything that the vultures are attached to. And our Ellie bull is playing hard to get somewhere in the bushes. He's still there. I think we're going to move off. I'm going to go track down that male leopard. I completely forgot to tell you about that. I found his tracks heading straight back to where Shadow is. Right, well, we're going to drive past Taylor here. And once again, this morning, we're going to send you flying onto the back of her vehicle. Hi.
Look at us looking at you. Wasn't that wonderful? Hey, it's amazing. We're bumping into everybody this morning. It's great. Very friendly around here. So I see Jamie's had some beautiful birds flying high in the sky. And I see we have a Mr. Elephant on the left, who's munching away, as elephants seem to do for most of the day. Hello, elephant. It's quite difficult. Let me see if I can go forward to get a little bit of a better view. But we have got a plan. David has told me that where he wants to go, he's hiding away. I think we're going to carry on from this elephant, because I think we've had fantastic time with elephants, and I'm pretty sure Jamie's been spending a little bit of time with him. So let's carry on, and I'm dragging away from the animals. We are on our way to Sydney's Dam. We're going to have a look in that area. I haven't been there, so I'm also learning the roads as we go along. So I'm trying to remember everywhere that I'm going. However, my memory seems to be acting like a goldfish this morning, so round and round we go, having to ask FC to repeat things 100 times to me. So I apologize. I'll have some brain food for breakfast, and then hopefully I'll be on form for tomorrow. So we are mobiling at the moment, and hopefully we're going to find something interesting. Actually, I'm going to show you something really interesting. I just need to find some. It's some stuff that we see all over the property. Where are you? There's some, but I'm looking for a big pile. So if anybody spots a big pile of elephant poop as we're driving, please let me know. We're looking. We've got lots of elephant poop up ahead. This is one of my favorite things. Okay, so I'm going to very quickly hop out of the vehicle. I'm just going to pull off the road just a little bit because right, okay, I'm going to very quickly get myself organized here. Let's quickly, Jamie's got something really interesting. Let's go back to her. Okay, how do I turn this thing?
Let's have a look at this poor Wahlberg's eagle that is clutching desperately onto the branch, trying to weather this wind, and every time it turns its head to look behind it, it gets sort of seriously ruffled by the wind. So an uncomfortable weather for these guys as well. Just checking out its toes. So we've got Wahlbergs here as well. In this case, completely different to the Wahlbergs eagles that we get to see on a regular basis around, what's that place called? Ingers, on Wahlbergs Road. I live there. I should know exactly what it is. And this is because it is a dark morph Wahlberg's eagle. Actually, this book doesn't give the best. My other bird book actually had a nicer picture of a dark morph Wahlberg's eagle. So the dark eye is one of the things that is distinctive about them, as well as a very square, quite short tail. Also the fact that they are relatively small eagles. So Wahlbergs have gathered here as well. This is the dark morph. The pale morph is the one that we get just close to Wahlberg's Road or close to Ingers where I live. And then the normal colour is the standard brown morph. That's just above it. We should start to see our other eagle species coming back at some point too, the steppe eagles, the steppe buzzards, and perhaps, I know that Brent said he saw a pale morph booted eagle. Is that right? Yes, pale morph booted eagle while I was on leave. All kinds of exciting birding opportunities. This, I think, is the dark morph Wahlbergs that we've actually seen, we saw last year, nesting with was it a normal yes, a normal Wahlberg's eagle around Red Dam. So we actually kind of get to know our Wahlberg's eagles very nicely. Get to identify the individuals, since they return each and every year from the more northern parts of Africa back to our shores, and they return to the same nest spot, the same little territories, and the same partners. Quite mind-boggling how they do that. They don't have nice, convenient tools like GPSs and maps, or the fact that they are able to do that is truly phenomenal. Okay, bye-bye, Mr. Wahlbergs. We're going to go and find that male leopard. Alright, well, it seems as though Taylor has perhaps got a bit of a headache from that sighting with Shadow on a boundary road. We're going to get out of this wind. It seems if she doesn't have a headache, perhaps she's trying to keep warm. Let's go and have a look at what she's up to.
Can you hear me now? I'm back. Sorry, we have to redo that all over again, but because it's live, no, we can't. So, woo! I've got some elephant dung over here. As you can see, it's burning too well, actually. I only just lit a small piece. So just going back to Steph yesterday, who was trying to make a fire. I'm going to put it out a little bit because it's getting a bit out of hand. You can die a bit. There we go. It's dying a little bit. And so Steph yesterday, he was trying to make a fire, and one of the things he was using as tinder is elephant dung. So it's fantastic to make a fire. As you can see, it's burning really well. Obviously, you want to use dry elephant dung and not the wet stuff, otherwise you're going to be trying to light that for ages. Now, one of my favorite things to do with elephant dung, and if I remember correctly, I remember watching a little clip that was put together about James and the insects and his swatting techniques of the flies. Nobody likes flies, nobody likes mosquitoes. I have your solution. I see I should be doing commercials. Elephant dung. So elephant dung is a fantastic way to get rid of flies and insects. So as you can see, it's very windy, so the smoke is blowing quite quickly. So what I like to do is take an old tin, like an old jam tin or an old tin of beans. Obviously get rid of the contents, give it a good wash, take the paper that's wrapped around the outside, let it dry. Then you take a screwdriver and you poke lots of holes in the side. Obviously, if you're young and you want to do this, maybe ask mom or dad to give you a helping hand. So you poke lots of little holes just in the side. You take a bit of dried elephant dung, pop it in the middle, you light it, and you let it smolder very slowly, like what you can see is happening over here. And those little holes, obviously the smoke will then filter into the air, and I can promise you, you will have no mosquitoes, you will have no flies bothering you. And one thing that we like to do in Zambia, which was quite cool, is you actually take a tin and you dangle a string from that tin. You hang it on the cruiser, especially if your cruiser's got a roof. The tsetse flies can be very, very bad in the northern parts of Africa. And this elephant dung also helps for that. How cool is that? Now, obviously, I've now burnt some elephant dung, and I don't want to be responsible for burning down the Sabi sands. So I'm going to just very quickly put it out nicely. Oh, but one thing, I've forgotten, my other thing. You know, with this whole change of season in South Africa, it's hot, it's cold, it's windy, it's sunny, it's all over. A lot of us are getting these little change of season cold. And my tracker, Candy, who was an amazing gentleman, he showed me something fantastic. He said that, like you, I'm sorry, it's getting out of hand again. Like you would inhale steam when your grandmother said, you know, you're sick, you go and inhale some steam, my dear. You'd go and do that. You put a towel over your head, put hot water in a basin, and you do that. You can do that with elephant dung too. Can you believe it? So all you do, you put a little bit, obviously in a metal container, something that's not going to melt. You cover your head with a towel and you inhale the smoke, and it can actually help relieve a headache and congestion, which is great. I'm really going to put it out now because this wind is interesting. No, I'm lost again. I'm back again. Okay, I'm going to go down slowly. Put this out. Remember, you don't want to cause a fire. Everything is really dry at the moment. Just break. Do we have some? I'll try not to bend. Back again. Okay, I'm not going to bend. I'm going to, because it has smoldered quite a bit, but I'm going to do it in the sand. So I'm just going to waddle on over here. So I'm walking like, I don't even sun or something. Because let's get rid of this, because water's not important to drink. No, I'm joking. Luckily, we're not far from the lodge, but I also don't want to cause a fire. And then, just to make sure, let's bury it. Cover it with sand. Stomp the poop. There we go. And now, the fire is out. I'm not going to burn down Juma. I'm going to just put this back in. I'm going to try and climb back into the vehicle without losing sound. I'm back here. Yeah. Woo! I need to grow longer legs. Closed door. Haha! I'm back in the vehicle. Now we are going to carry on our venture towards Sydney's dam and see what's happening there. But I really, really, really love the elephant dung, so please use it, don't use it. While we make our way towards Sydney, we're going to go back off to Jamie, the mechanic.
Hi. I'm not really so much a mechanic as just a tire changer this morning. In the meantime, we have caught up with some zebra. Hopefully we'll be able to get a nice view of them here through the trees. Where's going to be best? Ah. No, don't go away. All of the animals. And what we were saying about the elephant applies to the zebra as well. And in fact, all of the animals out here, they get very unsettled on a windy day like today, and it is particularly violent for the bush. Jean-Ray pointed out that perhaps I'm exaggerating slightly in the sense that there are definitely places that experience more extreme weather. Jean-Ray, of course, is from Cape Town, where the wind blows horrifyingly, constantly. I'm not a huge wind fan. Now, the zebra agree with me. They find wind unsettling, and I think that we do actually have an instinctive reason behind why certain people do get unsettled by wind. I know I do, and I know that I'm not alone in that. I know quite a few other people who find they get just a sort of low-level anxiousness on a windy day like today. It probably stems from a time when we knew we were more at threat. Wendy's antenna is singing gently away as the wind blows across the top of it, kind of like when you blow across a glass bottle, make that flute-like sound. The antenna's doing the exact same thing. The wind is getting it at exactly the right angle. Just something that we found. I forgot because I got distracted by our tire changing expedition. A lovely Warthog Skull, massive Warthog Skull. We don't always get a sense of scale in terms of how large warthogs actually are. This is just the top half of its face. You can see there the attachment point for the tusks. This is where the tusks slot in, the top tusks. And nicely, we've also got a view, well, there's the eyeball, obviously. Very flat-shaped head, long and flat. And then, if we turn it over, we got a nice view of its teeth. Now, my guess would be that this is actually was quite an old individual. And the reason that I say that, apart from the fact that it is deceased, is that it is rubbed smooth here. So I'm going to bring it right up close. I'll bring it right up close to the camera, Chandra. There we go. Have a look at that. Have a look at the teeth of this particular animal. So worn smooth. Look at that. Look at all those funny ridges. It almost looks like a sea anemone, doesn't it? From this perspective. It's awesome. Very, very cool. And there you go, sense of scale. Warthog. Warthog Skull. Awesome. Oh, fascinating. I love looking at the skulls. Trying to see if there's anything else interesting. Perhaps a spider or a bug or something similar. And just the sinuses really give you a nice idea of all of the sinus work that happens in there. There you go, you can look inside it. There, straight through and out the other side, and you can see the remainder of the sinus, oh, it's blowing, sinus membranes. Got a few blades of grass and everything in there, but the sinus folds, of course, so crucial to an animal's perception of their world. And then one last thing I do want to show you, actually, turn it around one more time. It's these holes and the grooves that run alongside them. Look there, you can see the little holes there. You can see it's almost like grooves that run along the skull. There, perfect. And those are for sensory nerves, sensory and motor neurons, obviously all bundled together there. So to provide essentially a way of it going from the brain, which would sit, the brain case would sit in the back here. You can't see it. It's sort of inside this cavity. So tiny, tiny brains, warthogs have. And then obviously the nerve cells running through and across. And then you've got another one here. And that will be leading the nerve cells, the essentially very, very sensitive nerve cells to the whiskers of the warthog. The whiskers, the lips. You've got those incredibly extended tufts of hair on either side of them. So that's what those holes are for. For neurons. Cool. Yes, I will take it for the tent, although I think that the one that James has in the tent is probably slightly superior to my Warthog Skull. But nevertheless, I shall take it along just in case. Well, the zebra have been watching us with a sort of vague sense of curiosity. I think they learned something from that anatomy lesson. What do you think, Chandra? Definitely. When I was studying when I was younger, when I was still in school, I used to teach my cat. It was my way of learning. And as a result, she's probably one of the best educated cats in Johannesburg. I don't think the zebra quite had the same taking it in level. In case Taylor, you wanted to know what makes a zebra different from a horse other than its colors. One of the big things is the proportion size of the hoof. Generally, horses' hooves are larger in proportion to their bodies than zebras. Zebras' hooves are quite small. I mean, a fully grown zebra is probably, their hoof is probably about that wide, whereas a horse is much, much larger. A horse would probably be, I know there's different breeds of horses and different types of horses, obviously, but generally a fully grown zebra's got quite a tiny foot. Their social structure is different. Obviously, we've already spoken about color. Their social structure is different. They have that harem-based system, but there's subtle differences in the way that they function. They don't necessarily form those big herds in the way that horses often do. There is still a dominant stallion by a zebra. Off they go. And then very importantly, zebra are very, very difficult to domesticate. They cannot be ridden. Their backs are not strong enough. They're not load-bearing in the same way mules or donkeys or horses might be. You cannot ride them. There are cases of times when people hitch them up to carriages because, of course, they're immune to African horse sickness, which is very, very prevalent in this area and which actually did some serious damage to the horses that were first brought to South Africa by the various colonialists and by the Boers and so on. So they're immune to the African horse sickness, which strikes very hard during our summer months, and that our horses have to be vaccinated against. But they eventually gave up on trying to domesticate zebra because they are just bad-tempered, grumpy. They bite. I think I'm biased because I've been bitten by one. It's very, very sore, even if they're hand-raised. And of course, remember, horses have been domesticated over generations and generations and generations. Zebra would probably have needed a little bit more time, but it was deemed impractical to attempt to domesticate zebra since they can't carry big loads and they're so cross. If you've seen the zebra with missing tails, you must know how hard they bite. I noticed that. I actually spoke about this yesterday afternoon on the sunset safari to Brian. To Viam. And I don't know why it is. So James Richards pointed out that there seems to have been an increase in zebra. Is it due to the drought or is it just a coincidence? I think it's just a coincidence. I mean, yes, they're going to be gathering for water, but there's water spread out through the whole of the Sabi Sand. I don't think that our grazing quality is not all that good. Shame, all the birds are clinging onto the branches. Oh, well, or not. Or, flying away. Nice idea. There goes a lilac-breasted roller. Well done, Jandre. Managing to keep track of it. They are such beautiful birds. You can see the effect the wind is having on their feathers. Must be uncomfortable. Okay, beautiful. They are such lovely birds. The zebra question, I don't know. I think it's coincidence. We do seem to go through phases of lots of zebra or no zebra. There's never really that much of a medium in between. It seems they tend to move about at the same time. Just wondering if that might be a nice view of our lilac-breasted roller. It seems to be cleaning its beak on the branch. Wind gusting around it. Turning its head to the side, this is of course a way of repositioning the way that it sees, because they've got quite large blind spots in the front of their faces. So quite a wide peripheral vision, and very, very good proprioception. So their ability to see in 3 dimensions. I have to have a good chuckle at Wendy's aerial. Making such a lovely sound, singing away. Let's see if we can get it making the sound. hear it a little bit, not really. Sort of. You can just hear the wind, I imagine. Gusting. Okay, let's carry on. See if we can't find that male leopard for the last few moments of our, well, the last half an hour of our sunrise safari. No! Stay on. Okay, I'm going to just double check. Perhaps I got the direction of those tracks wrong, so I'm going to head back to the original position of the tracks. Let's go find out what Taylor's doing and if she's managed to put out her elephant dung properly.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm sure you've missed me. I now smell like elephant poop that has been burnt. It's fantastic. I think I'm going to bottle it and make a perfume out of it. So we haven't found anything yet. This wind, like yesterday, I don't like the wind, firstly because it blows all the hair into my face and my hat cannot contain my mane of hair, and the fact that it chases away all the animals. So we are looking at the moment for something, anything, a bird. I believe Jamie's found lots of birds this morning. That's quite exciting. One day I'll also do a birding drive because I actually quite enjoy birds, believe it or not. And I was actually very excited. Oh, Andrew, good question. What is my favorite bird? So it's a bird that you don't actually, sorry, yep, this is coming up. A bird that you don't really find in this area. Does anybody know what a Narina trogon is? If you don't, Google it. Otherwise, I could possibly dig out my bird book. Let's maybe do that. Let's bring out the book, and don't laugh at my book, please, because it's very old and it has been on many adventures with me. I need to look for it. Let me find it quickly. Trogon. Let's see with a T. Where would that be? What's wrong with me? I can't find there. 254. That's where we're going. Okay, just try and reposition it. If you look over there, you can see this beautiful Narina trogon. Now, it's a wonderfully colourful bird, but they prefer forests. So I used to see a lot of them in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, so like the southeast coast. They quite like it. And where you have a little bit of water or a canopy of trees. They love those sort of areas. And they are beautiful. They look like a parrot crossed with something else that I'm not quite sure of. Lovely red breast, beautiful sort of iridescent green on their back, and that bright yellow bill, which you can see quite nicely. That stands out. Oh my goodness, it sounds like Jurassic Park out here. I don't know if you heard that, but I could hear a screaming elephant in the distance. So that is my favorite bird, an Narina trogon. I'd actually like to see this one. Hang on, David. I want to show everybody this bird down here called an African pitta. I have never seen one. I want to. I looked for them in Zambia. I didn't find them, so I need to go back. Okay, let's go towards the screaming elephant. It sounded like a calf. Yeah, it sounded like a calf. Sorry, I'm just readjusting. It sounded like a calf that was screaming for its mother's milk, and Mom was saying no. Let's go ahead. It didn't sound too far away. I think I need to invest in an Alice band or some more clips or something like that, because my hair. James Richard wants to know if you can hear another one of my famous elephant stories. Of course you can hear one of my elephant stories. So, I told you about how I met came across this female elephant who had given birth to an stillborn, and it was very sad. I'm going to now treat you to a happy story. I'm also going to concentrate and just scan because those elephants weren't too far away. Actually, yeah, let's carry on. Let's go slowly though. So, I can hear them. Listen, they're here. They have to be here. James, I'm going to get back to your question now. Let's try and relocate on these elephants, and then while you watch the elephants, I can narrate a wonderful story. Oh my goodness, what is going on? There we go. I see the culprits. I'm going electric. Oh no, don't. Why are you running away? Looks like Mom and baby on the left, they are very unhappy. I don't know what has upset them. All you can see is a dust cloud running away. We're not going to upset these elephants. We're not going to follow them. We're going to leave them alone. They are very traumatized by something. I don't know what it was. But, yeah, I think let's actually maybe just stop here. Maybe we can just let them get a chance to actually move away. That's not a good sign. At first I thought it was maybe Mom saying no to little one, but then I saw Mom racing off, ears flared in the opposite direction, and little calf in hot pursuit, and they've disappeared now. And so remember how I was saying earlier, we always want to leave on a positive note with the animals. Just tucking the hair away. This is a perfect example. These elephants have told us how unhappy they are. I don't think it was because of us, because I heard this from a distance. It could be the wind causing them stress that they can't hear or smell very well. Or maybe there's some predator in the area that I don't even know about. Or maybe there's a big bull coming around and he's, harassing this female elephant. So we're going to leave them, but I'm going to very quickly tell you about this elephant story. So one morning, very early in the morning, I got out. I think I'd gone out before the sun had even got up, so it was quite a distance, and I sort of knew where the elephants were from the night before. So I thought, okay, they do feed quite a bit, but possibly they're still going to be around in the same area. So although I went on this adventure, sorry, I'm just getting a little bit of dust in my eyes here. Let me just remove the dust. Okay, that's a little bit better. And drove up onto this beautiful open plain, and voila, the elephants were in the distance. I was like, well, that was easy, great, good, thank you, elephants, you really playing ball today. So as we approached the herd of elephants, they were all in a very tight circle, sort of like what we saw yesterday with Brent when he was at the watering hole, and the elephants had formed a little protective circle around the little one as it was splashing around, because they were a little bit upset whether it was from the rover or the hippo, a bit of both. And this is what happened. So I'm sitting there and I said to my guests, listen guys, we're just going to sit, we're going to hang back, we're going to wait for them to come to us. That's exactly what we did. The next moment, they all started moving straight towards us in this tight little bunch with all the little ones inside. And this is a particularly amazing herd of elephants. They've had many stories written about them. It's the best herd of elephants I've ever come across. It is in a closed system. It's in a private game reserve down in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. So you get to know every member of the herd really, really well. And as we were sitting there, the herd was coming towards us. The next minute, they're probably about 15 meters away from my vehicle. The herd opened up slightly, and the matriarch came out and sort of came in front with this brand new baby calf. Brand new. I mean, still pink behind the ears. It was so tiny. And she came towards me. So I turned around and I looked to my guests and I said, we're not going to move now. They came towards us. They were very relaxed. They were not showing any threats towards us. They were just walking in a tight circle. And they were very quiet. And I knew this female very, very well, and I think she knew me. She understood my voice. She came up to my vehicle. Can you believe it? Right here. And I have a photo to prove it and everything, just in case you think I'm making the story up. So she came up to my vehicle, and the little one then came in between Mom's legs, and then it's like she was introducing this little calf to my vehicle. It was the most unbelievable thing. So I said to everybody, we are not going to make a sound. We're going to sit here quietly, enjoy, don't lean over, don't move around. This is a tiny brand new baby calf that was probably born either in the early hours of this morning or even late last night. I wasn't 100% sure. Came over, this little one sort of touched the vehicle. Normally we don't want the animals to touch a vehicle, but Mom stood quietly, and this little one obviously had never seen a vehicle in its life, and it was smelling. For 15 minutes we sat in complete silence while this little elephant investigated the vehicle, and the rest of the herd sort of fed around the vehicle, and Mom stood right next to me. And then they moved off. She gathered little one, and off they went into the distance. It was unbelievable how it was so moving. I can't even describe it to you. Everybody sat there with goosebumps. It was the most amazing experience to have the matriarch of this beautiful herd of elephants introduce her brand new calf. And that was the first interaction that I had with this tiny little elephant. And did it have a personality as it got older? It was a lovely elephant. So there's my elephant story for you today. Maybe we can do a thing. Maybe I can do an elephant story every morning for all of you. I've got lots. I love to spend as much time with them as I can. And I really hope that elephant that went racing off in the distance has a better day. So let's carry on down along this road, and I hope you enjoyed that little story. And let's see what else is around. But it's a bit windy, like I was saying earlier. I think everything is hiding. But if I find something, I'm going to let you know. Off to Jamie we go.
Oh, here's a nice view of a grey hornbill, which we don't often get to put on camera. They tend to disappear off as quickly as possible. And he's whistling his merry tune. Unfortunately, it's so windy that you probably won't be able to hear it. But that beautiful sound that is so, there we go, so different from the red and the yellow-billed hornbills. Awesome, well done, Chandra. He tried to pull a sneaky maneuver on you there. Flew off in one direction and then went in the opposite. Nearly caught Chandra out, but you'll have to rise earlier, grey hornbill, to catch out our cameraman. Right, so we're still in pursuit of this male leopard. I have a suspicion he walked along the main road during the drive. And I went past one of the trees that he'd stopped to scent mark on, and I can still see the droplets of urine. Those fresh tracks just coming through here. I went for a little bit of a stroll. Couldn't see him on any of the termite mounds. But he's got to be somewhere around here. He may well end up meeting up with Shadow. David, you were wondering if a male and a female leopard will ever fight over territory. No, they won't. So the only time a female leopard may try to fight a male will be when she's trying to defend cubs that he might be hell-bent on killing. If he hasn't mated with that female and he doesn't know her, then about 50% of leopard cubs are killed by unknown male leopards. So that's the only time a female will try and defend something, and even then she is seriously outmatched. She won't even fight to keep food. We saw it with Karula the other day, when the big dominant male Tingana, who I think we're tracking now, when he came through and stole her impala kill, she was actually far more concerned about the fact that Shadow was with him and inside her territory. So male leopards essentially have a territory that encompasses that of several different females, and they're not bothered by each other's presence. Sometimes they even meet up and share a kill every now and again. Tingana's just come from Torchwood, where he was with Tundi, who is Shadow's twin sister and Karula's oldest daughter, or one of Karula's oldest daughters. So it does happen that they meet up and they share a kill, spend a little bit of time together, and then off they go in their separate ways. The only time, of course, they'll spend a considerable period of time with each other is if they're mating. Come on, Tingana. Only got a few minutes. I'm sure he's in this block somewhere doing his Tingana lying down in the shade. Sorry, the wind is howling. I'm just trying to cover my earpiece. And JR, as we peer into the bushes for any signs of spots, perhaps a flash of a white tail every now and again. No, lions do not respect leopards' hunting grounds. Their territory will encompass that of different leopards. If they happen to encounter them, they will chase them, especially young male lions will chase them. Even potentially, if they could catch them, they will kill them. And they feel nothing about stealing a leopard's kill. So unless a leopard manages to get it up a tree out of their reach, they will steal a leopard's kill, no problem. So there's no, I definitely wouldn't call it respect there. The male or lions are the apex predator, they are the dominant predator, and they bully pretty much every other predator they can. And one of the biggest scavengers out here is a male lion. If he finds a kill, regardless of who happens to be feeding off it, he will go and eat it. That's not to say that leopards do not scavenge as well, because they do. In fact, one extraordinary sighting we had with Tingana and Karula at Red Dam involved the two of them mating plus feeding off a dead buffalo in the drainage line, right up until the point that the Tsalala lion pride, we don't get to see that often anymore, the Tsalala lion pride arrived and chased them off and up trees. And that was a particularly dangerous situation for those leopards because it involved young male lions. And young male lions are, well, young lions in general, but especially male lions, tend to be the ones that will, for example, pursue a leopard and try and catch it, whereas the females might chase it and then lose interest and give up, adult females. Hyenas as well, and cheetah as well. A young male lion is a dangerous thing to other predators. I'm sure he's in here. Must have just missed out on seeing him. Well, hopefully this afternoon on the sunset safari he might have joined up with Shadow and we might find the two of them together once again. I have to say, I was secretly hoping that when we saw Shadow with that kill, that she was going to go and disappear off and fetch her cub for us, and we were going to be treated to another reunion scene, like the one that we had yesterday with those little lion cubs. We don't know yet. Nothing's confirmed. Her cub may well still be alive. We'll just have to wait and see. And we'll return straight back there on the sunset safari this afternoon to try and figure out what's happening with her. Okay, I've now driven this road 3 times, and our leopard has not popped out, so we'll have to go looking for him as well this afternoon. The problem with a day like today, it's nice and cool, so our big cats are going to be wandering about. Speaking of big cats, I'm going to have a chat to Taxon this morning after breakfast and just get some clarification as to what's been going on with the male lions on Buffelshoek this morning. Obviously, he mentioned that he thought Junior was in the area. I'm hoping that we might get a little bit more information about that. So stay tuned for the sunset safari and we'll fill you in on all of that. Okie dokie. On that note, it is time for us to say a big farewell. So goodbye and thank you for joining us. Thank you to Jandre. We'll catch up with you in a couple of hours. Until then, until we see you again, bye-bye and have a wonderful day.
So I said earlier that I want to show you some birds. I'm going to just very quickly, before the show ends, show you about these birds that traumatized me my entire life of trying to track. So we all try and do these qualifications to try and improve ourselves. Now watch the way they walk. Can you see how they do not walk in a straight line? Now, these are called Cape turtle doves, and they are the alcoholics of the bush, firstly for the way that they call, which I'm sure you've all heard, work harder, or in the afternoons, more lager, more lager. And they walk like a person who's been at the pub from breakfast until 2 o'clock in the morning. They stumble around all the time. So when you're looking at their tracks, and hopefully I'll be able to find some tracks one day and show you, is that they walk sort of in a serpentine, going sort of from one side to the other, and one side to the other. So I failed a lot of tracking assessments because I kept forgetting that one, and it only took me 3 times of losing out on some valuable points. I then realized, aha, anybody that walks in a little serpentine pattern, it must be one of the doves, and particularly the turtle dove loves to do that. So a very common bird, but I think a very underappreciated bird that we see in the bush. And they're quite happy pecking along on the ground, looking for breakfast. I'm starting to get very hungry. I'm looking forward to a bowl of fruit and yogurt with some honey, nuts optional. That would be quite nice. So I know we're nearing the end, and I just wanted to say that thank you so much, everybody, for watching us. Look at all those leaves blowing in there. It's quite a nice effect, actually. It's great. It'd be a great ad for L'Oreal. Yes, I can make a very famous bird call. I don't know if it's a bird that exists. And sorry, I just wanted to get your name again. I didn't quite hear that with the wind. Rainbow. Rainbow? I'll do one for you. Raymo. Raymo. Caw-caw, caw-caw. I don't know what bird that is, but I can do that noise. I'm going to have to start saying goodbye to you all. We're going to have one last look at my face with my blonde hair that blows everywhere. And I hope you had a fantastic morning.
and enjoyed the wonderful show. Please tune in to us this afternoon again, and I'm pretty sure everybody will be out and about, hopefully less wind, and it was so wonderful. A really wonderful thank you from myself and of course David, who's done a phenomenal job this morning of helping me. I know I'm going to be repaying him with all sorts of gifts, and hopefully we will see you a little bit later. Remember, #SafariLive or questions@wildearth.tv. A goodbye for us. Maybe we'll leave you with the birds. There's a Birchall starling.
Oh, I'm on the dove.
Are you on the dove?